What do you get when you cross a know-it-all newspaper columnist with an awkward, unsophisticated everyman?
Yeah. Well, I'm just not sure about that right now.
Welcome to Couch and the Room.
Welcome to Couch in the Room, our Wednesday evening show, like the old days, presented by our friends at Front 43 Neighborhood Pub and Cask & Company Kitchen and Bar, as well as our friends at Firekeepers Casino and Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app. Download the app today. Bet the games we're betting. We're going to get into some of our picks in a little bit. We got some golf bets, Australian Open bets, football bets this weekend. Lots of stuff to get into, maybe even some Premier League bets as well. And we are also going to do your Groovy Donut Twitter questions here momentarily, as well as be joined by the one and only Jeff Kohler.
What?
Yeah. By demand.
Yes.
By demand. He will join us here in a few minutes. How you doing, brother?
Big 10 plus his ass.
Why don't you write something? Why don't you write something, huh? Why don't you write something?
Really good penis.
Let's go green. Go God.
What's up, buddy? Jeff Kohler, nice. I had some FOMO yesterday because Jeff Kohler's inviting like Dominic and some other people to stay at his guest house. I'm too old now, but I'm saying, man, like 10, 15 years ago, that'd be awesome. I'm an old curmudgeon now. You don't want me around. I got my own schedule now. I got to be in bed by 10:30. So
I would.
Sounds amazing though.
I would say he might come to regret it, but I've hung out with Dominic. It would be fun. It'd be a great night. And I think he's serious. You know, Jeff's not. Jeff's not kidding.
Messes around.
Yeah, he's not kidding. He's not kidding. So
are we going to ask the question that everybody wants to know?
What's the question?
Why Max Bulla was suspended?
Oh,
no, Paul Davis. What did he actually say?
Oh yeah, we got to get into that. Yeah.
Okay,
we'll ask that.
All right, cool.
Well, but we do.
Sure.
By the way, we do know what he said. We've talked about it here.
Oh, okay. So it is true. I didn't know this.
It's either. I've heard it two ways, but it's either mother or wife, and it's the W word. Is a whore.
W word.
Sorry. Just try not to say it so quickly.
It's
into the
whore,
show.
Graham. You could say whore on a podcast. You pussy.
Oh, geez.
High knees couch.
That's not a great word either. That's not what we need.
P word.
There
Sorry.
we go. There we go.
I'm doing Paul Davis. This isn't me. Anyway.
You sound kind of like Mr. Ed. You ever see those old horse?
No.
You never seen Mr. Ed?
I'm 40. I'm going to be 47. I'm not 67. I don't recognize Mr. Ed clips. Jesus, we're trying to get a younger demographic here. You're talking about Mr. Ed clips.
We're appealing to everybody.
Saying W word and, hey, have you seen that Mr. Ed episode? Oh, Jesus.
A horse is a horse, of course. You know, you never heard. Yeah. Come on, man. I'm an old soul here.
I didn't say like my impressions are accurate. Maybe just Coach K, but
Yeah, Coach K.
No,
Coach K is pretty good,
right?
Pretty good.
That's pretty accurate.
We are going to talk about Michigan State basketball, obviously beating Indiana, and I thought that was an important performance by Jeremy Fears in a game they needed him. I thought Jaxon Kohler was pretty dang good in a lot of that game too, and so was Jordan Scott. And so we're going to get into all that a little bit here with Jeff Kohler. We'll get into it through the Groovy Donut Twitter questions.
Oh, that's right. We're doing the whole shebang because you're out of town. You're heading out.
So little show notes. Yeah. I leave Friday for Seattle and then Eugene, Oregon for Michigan State's West Coast swing. We are going to do a show Monday, our Muskox quality flannel show from the road. I'm going to take the equipment.
So this is news to me. All right, cool.
So we're going to do a Monday show. I'm going to take
the equipment,
take the gear.
Damn, that's old school.
We'll do the show from the road. We'll do it live, and hopefully it'll go well. I'll be in Eugene at that point, staying in this house that Solari and I have rented together with a pickleball court. It's going to be incredible. It's
I will.
Solari can make an appearance. Bring another headset.
Me and Solari on a 3-acre ranch with a pickleball court in Eugene, Oregon. That's the trip.
God.
It's going to be great. So
sounds like a Hallmark movie of the summer.
That's what I was looking for, and I have found it.
Gay rom-com.
That's what it is. I got to tell Solari to watch out for the stairs. Sorry, it's too easy to. Sometimes
it's true.
Too easy.
Right.
So that will be Monday's show, but we will have a Monday show, but this will be the last show until Monday. So we're doing our Groovy Donut Twitter questions in a little bit. We'll also pick the games presented by our friends at Firekeepers and the Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app. And if you are looking for, it's a great weekend to download the app if you haven't already and bet some games. But if you're also looking for an in-house sportsbook experience, it's a good weekend for it. You got lots of NFL playoffs. You got golf starting. You got the Australian Open starting. Monday, you got the National Championship in college football. You got Michigan State basketball. It's 6 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday. Some really good stuff at Dacey's Taproom and Sportsbook off I-94 in Battle Creek. Or swing on by Front 43 in Cask and Company. Unbelievable place to watch games. Great menu. Outstanding drink selection. 2 distinct vibes. And if you want to make a reservation and take somebody and make an evening of it, go to caskandcompany.com, and you can. They have a great reservation system. Just put in your name. You can also write, what side you want to be on. Do you want a booth? Whatever that is, you can do at caskandcompany.com. That's just north of Frandor on East Saginaw.
I got voicemail.
Oh, not great.
I got
okay.
voicemail. We might need to take an extended break.
Extended break. All right, we'll take a really quick break. We come back. We'll have Jeff Kohler with us, and we'll talk some MSU basketball. Couch in the Rube, presented by our friends at Firekeepers Casino and iCasino and Sportsbook app in Front 43 Neighborhood Pub and Cask and Company in Kitchen and Bar.
Where else can you cheer on your team, enjoy a mouth-watering burger or savory sushi, sip on handcrafted cocktails, or one of 46 beers on tap? Take your game day or date night to Cask and Company Kitchen Bar or Front 43 Neighborhood Pub near Frandor. 2 amazing places with 1 awesome blended modern American Asian menu. Catch the game on one of 30 60-inch TVs or stop in for the all-you-can-eat lunch buffet. Enjoy happy hour or elevate your night out at Cask and Company or Front 43 on East Saginaw in Lansing. Ever wonder how comfortable you can be and how good you can look? Put on a Muskox flannel and find out. Muskox has new arrivals for this fall, including the Caper Green Grand Flannel, which even makes couch look good. Muskox is a Detroit-based flannel company that creates soft and durable flannels made to last a lifetime. They become a great partner with Couch in the Rube, not just because they make us look good and feel good, but because they're good people too, and a socially conscious company. For every $100 purchase, $10 is donated to the Alaska Wildlife Conservation. Muskox flannels are designed with 100% cotton that is ethically sourced and double brushed for softness. Feel the quality and comfort of a Muskox flannel by ordering at gomuskox.com, where Couch in the Rube listeners can enjoy $15 off their flannel purchase with the promo code HOFF.
Couch in the Rube, our Wednesday night show, brought to you by our friends at Firekeepers Casino and iCasino and Sportsbook app and Front 43 Neighborhood Pub in Cask and Company Kitchen and Bar just north of Frandor near the Lansing, East Lansing border. Very pleased now to have the one and only Jeff Kohler, father of Jaxon Kohler. And if you don't know who that is, you probably don't listen to this show or follow Michigan State basketball. Jeff, how you doing, man? You get home safely?
Yeah, it was kind of Trump was in town, so travel was crazy, but we figured it out. I actually rode on a Michigan Flyer for the first time.
Did you? I don't want to diss the Michigan Flyer because you never know when you're going to have a sponsor, but I have only been slightly disappointed by the Michigan Flyer, only because I think life is relative to expectations. And the first time I was told about this thing, it was painted out to me to be this magical bus that took you between Lansing and Detroit Metro Airport, and I thought there were going to be like big comfy chairs and desks to work at, and I don't know what I was thinking. And then it was just kind of a bus, So I don't know. Was it okay for you?
Magical on the outside, but it smelled like a sock inside. But
there you go.
We got through it.
Yeah. So yeah, probably not a sponsor anytime soon. But anyway, that how many games have you missed this year?
Penn State. I missed a couple right around Christmas because I was like, man, I'm going to need to maybe gather my breath, to make it for league play and stuff like that. But like, it's senior year, man. So you got to make it happen, I guess. But I missed Penn State. I think it was I missed Detroit Mercy, which I really wanted to see Monty. Monty recruited Jax. That we were getting Christmas things ready. So, but not many, man. I mean, we've been to most things.
It's amazing, and people don't realize. I mean, you're flying back and forth between Utah and Detroit or Michigan pretty much at least, once a week, twice a week, going to the Midwest, sometimes staying in town for a few days. It's a lot, and as you say, it's a senior year, so it's worth it. Is your son almost there's got to be times where is there ever been a game, and he's been pretty consistent, I think he's had double digits, where you thought that performance wasn't worth it?
Ooh, good question. This last one, not this one, the one before, that's been a blur.
The Northwestern game.
Days ago?
Yeah, Northwestern.
Yeah, that probably that one. Like he I got into town, and it was a two, we had 3 home games in 6 days, right? So I'm like, all right, well, I'm just going to stay here for a couple of days. After the first game, he wakes up, hey, Dad, I feel like I got hit by a bus. I'm like, oh, man. So going into the Northwestern game, he got what, Carson had. I think Cohen had it for just like 24 hours. And he just wasn't feeling great. But, you could tell he was kind of a step behind. 6 turnovers is brutal. I went back and watched it, though, and a lot of them were just kind of little miscues, but I'd say it might have been that one. I think he still was pretty close to a double-double. Still managed to knock down a couple shots, but the turnover thing was kind of crazy.
Did you have, this has been a really good season for this team and obviously for Jackson.
Very.
Did you have a feeling this was coming? Like, you go back to the exhibition season when things didn't look as smooth, or the UConn game, for example. Did you have a sense that this was coming?
So I think I told you and a couple other people, I love to get in there and watch in the summer. I didn't get out to Holt, but I got to watch practice. And I thought, I think this team's going to be better than last year's, because last year we had a lot of dudes and you're splitting minutes with so many guys, and that's hard to do. And even when guys had good games, it's 20 minutes worth. It just, no one's really getting a full game until we got to January, and I was like, okay, we got to really give minutes to a few more guys, and we finally did that. But even still, this year we're a better 3-point shooting team. I think I've told a few people, I think we'll have 3 guys that are at least 38% or better. The freshman, I love the Jordan Scott kid, man. I mean, that kid's got a heater, and when he's not thinking about it, when he gets comfortable, he does so many things. I just think he raises our ceiling exponentially. But we're bigger. We're bigger on the guard line. We might have some more. We might be maybe a step behind defensively, But I like this team, man. I think we've got so many weapons, and we're shooting it good, and we're so strong in the paint, rebounding the ball. The things that they didn't think we would have from last year coming into this year, I'd say some of those things arguably were better than.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're a higher ceiling against better teams. Like, I've said here before, when they played Auburn, I think that Auburn team last year against last year's team, they might have beaten Auburn 2 or 3 out of 10 times on the right day. They would have needed shots to fall,
yeah.
But the length was a problem, the size was a problem, all that stuff. Like, I think this team would beat that Auburn team 5 out of 10 times. Like, I think this team is just more equipped for that
100%.
That sort of game. What this team may not have is a single guy whose best trait is getting a bucket, especially at the guard position when you need it, like they had with Jace last year. But yeah, no, I think the upside is greater. The evolution. Go ahead.
I was just saying, as you look at this too, from where we were last year, I mean, by right about now, everybody kind of knows who they are as a team. I don't know that we totally do yet, because there's certain tweaks that we could make. You could subtract some minutes here, give them to this guy. I still think we have another version of this team that we haven't really seen yet. And I think with everybody else that we played, I've watched a lot of games, and I think what they are night in and night out. I do not think with this team quite yet, because the up and down at the 2 spot or whatnot, and different lineups are pushing out a lot of different metrics. I don't know. I don't know if you'd agree with that or not, but I think there's something that we could get to with certain lineups that we haven't seen a whole lot of, and I think there's another version of us out there that's still kind of percolating.
I think the Jordan Scott part of that is a big part of that, because and then you even see in a game like against Indiana when Kurt Tang is confident. Like, he had a miserable start, for the first few minutes, and then he comes back in and doesn't lose his confidence, hits 3 threes, and the 1 3 he hit on the break, where it's just a catch, rise up, and shoot over a defender. Like, that was a 3 unlike anything we've seen from him yet, where it just looks like a professional shot, right? And like, if those two guys reach levels of consistency, and I think Scott has done a lot already. I mean, but that's probably it, right? That's the level that changes them.
I think so. And like you saw Jordan Scott hit a couple shots, and I've seen a couple games of that him where he's like, towards the end of the game, Carson gets a late kick out, which was more like a lob to the back of the end zone, but Jordan doesn't even have time to really get the shot in his pocket. He just kind of keeps it up and then just kind of flicks. Like, you can tell he's only thinking about the clock and the situation. He's not thinking about whether or not the shot's going to go in, and he just nails it. And it's like, for these freshmen, to be out here not thinking a whole hell of a lot the way that some freshmen normally do in this program, that makes us super dangerous, man.
Yeah. No, I agree, and I think Cam Ward is sort of the perfect complement to who Jackson and Carson are in the interior.
I think I stand up more for Cam Ward plays than I do my own kids. Like, he fires me up, man. He's just such a dog down there.
You talk about that freshman having confidence, like the evolution of Jackson in this program. It's interesting because he is. He went through a first year where it was a hard adjustment for him. And let's start there. How many games did you get to that first year? Do you remember what you were thinking watching him as a true freshman?
Yeah, I'll tell you exactly what I was thinking. It's we played the first home exhibition. I believe it was Northern Arizona, and he gets the ball mid post, and he turns to put his shoulder into a guy and gets stood right up. And I had this like, oh man, it's going to take him a minute. He stood right up. And so for a kid that did a lot of work, like I watched a lot of basketball. When in high school, you could put this kid in a fixed position on a pivot foot and he could score on anybody. But the physicality part of it, just competing with, against 23, 22, 24-year-old men, especially with the COVID and the extra years and stuff that was going on there, just you can't prepare a kid for that. And so, yeah, I knew right then, I'm like, physically, it's going to take him a while to catch up. And it did. It took its time. And Izzo was good about letting him play through it, put him out there. When it got closer to the end of the season, kind of reined him back in a little bit. And that was all the motivation Jackson needed, for that freshman year.
The sophomore year, he has the big summer, and then he gets hurt, and obviously that, I've said I think they probably should have redshirted him that year. How much was that discussion like legitimate at that point in time?
I'll be totally honest. So the best version of my kid I ever saw, the wildest fire lit underneath him, was coming back for that sophomore season. And unless you were there this summer, you didn't get to see it. I got old stat sheets, though, if you ever want to go and look. I mean, he was out there.
And you're not talking Moneyball. You're talking practices.
No. I mean, Moneyball, he wanted to make sure Xavier Booker knew who he was. But other than that, I'm talking about, like, contact in practice. They keep stats on everything, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm constantly with him, like, hey, how are you doing? We'd watch film together. My heart aches for the fact that nobody got to see that fired up kid his sophomore season, because he was coming for minutes. He was ready. Athletically, he was just such a step lighter. You saw his body change. We changed his body in a short period of time. When we got home, it's like we're lifting heavy, we're eating Chipotle, and we're running, and then that's it. And you didn't get to see it. In fact, you even got a worse version of him than his freshman year. And the hard part was you asked the red shirt question, wasn't discussed once, not once, because he was so good in the summer that it was like, we need to hurry and get him back. And that's the conversations we were having. Like, that might have been one of the worst kids that could have been injured at the time. because of how he was playing in the summer, and I think what they were preparing for to roll him out as a sophomore. Junior Jackson that's basically where he was his sophomore year. And you never got to see it. You got to see it once in the exhibition game, which was, nobody really cares about that, but he made everything. He was super tuned up. And I mean, it was heartbreaking that you never got to see it, because then it's almost like I remember when we watched the Baylor game, he was supposed to be back around that time for Baylor and Nebraska. And then MSU goes out and just runs Baylor out of the gym. And I'm like, oh no. Like, I thought that was the worst thing that could have happened, because that was such an up and down season too, that they couldn't afford to bring him on the right way, because there was too much on the line. I mean, we barely, we were one of the last ones in the tournament that year, right?
Yeah.
So,
that
just kind of crushed his spirit.
Yeah, no, and I think it's probably one of those hindsight things, because obviously you don't know what that year is going to entail. And I would argue too that there were some benefits to that year, and you and I have talked about this. But that was the year he realized, because I mean, he was not a guy they recruited to be, that they thought of elite rebounder, right? That was not the skill set that was most what drew him to them, or them to him. But that year, I remember the conversations where he started to realize, that's how I get on the court. And you talked about that and that conversation. Can you tell me a little bit about that conversation you had with him? Because it was during that stretch, and that was sort of the beginning of what we see now as a rebounder.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think one of his first games back was like Northwestern and then Illinois, and he was getting 2-minute spurts, and then that's it. It was like 2 minutes to 4 minutes to 6 minutes to 8 minutes, and we'll probably tap you out there. And when we were at Illinois, he gets beat down the floor by Dane Danger, which that guy's not beating anybody in a foot race, right? I mean, you remember that big guy, big
sure.
husky guy that played, yeah. And then he was just looking for a way to get involved. And, when I told him, when you come back here, it's just, just focus on your energy, focus on just being in your spots defensively. I watched a game or two, and there was a game when he was out there for probably I want to say 5-6 minutes and didn't get a rebound. And then it kind of clicked. I'm like, look, if you want to really get into that 12-minute, 15, you want to earn some freedom on this team, you have to hit the glass. Like that's all you're there to do. Like your life depends on it. Like your scholarship to rebound the ball. And he always knew that. Like, he was always a proficient rebounder in high school. What's interesting is I wouldn't say he was that much of an elite offensive rebounder, because when he was in high school, he didn't really miss on his post moves a whole hell of a lot. But when we started looking at, like, he's really good with his feet, with his post work and stuff, and he hasn't really gotten, I would say, a green light, especially as a youngster, to show that stuff. When you get there and you're not very strong, they want you to keep it simple, get to your right hand, stuff like that. But when we started to use those feet towards wedging, towards, angles, towards, you can spin and seal a guy, and before he even knows it, he's on your back, and he's not going to get that rebound no matter what happens. You watch him on the free throw line, he's spinning out and under, and you might only get, one every other game doing that. But it's funny, he'll tell me, when he's sitting there at the line, while somebody's getting ready to shoot, and a defender asks him, are you going to go? And he's like, hell yeah, I'm going to go. And so he's, that's just, I think, what he knew. In order to get the minutes, in order to get the trust, in order to get his game back, he had to hit the glass as hard as he could.
The 3-point shot, I thought it would come around at some point. Like, I thought he had a chance for this sort of year. And we saw it at the end of last year when 11 for 19 to finish the season. Did you think, were you concerned that this sort of year wouldn't happen in time? Where he's a 50% 3-point shooter to this point at a pretty high volume.
Last year had to go a certain way for this year to happen. I remember he would. Everybody last year, I think, started off 0 for 20, right?
The whole team, yeah.
We were never going to outrun that horrific start. I mean, 2 years in a row, we just got off to a horrific start from 3. But he was in there, he was like at 20% or something, just bare minimum. And then we got to Minnesota, and he hit 2 in a game. And I turned to my wife and I said, all right, that's it. He needed to be a guy that could hit more than 1. And then after that, a couple more games, he hit a couple. And then we got to Illinois, and they just, the ball just kind of found him, and he hit 5. And it was funny because Izzo tells him at halftime at the Illinois game, like, stop shooting the 3. Don't fall in love with that shot. And in the second half, I think he hits 3 more. And he's, when he hit that 5th one, he turns to the sideline and starts screaming, I'm shooting it. And Izzo loves that stuff because that's like, he works so hard at it. The kid, like, for 2 years in a row was nationally ranked on Shot Tracker, which means, like, they put that sensor on you and they track how many shots you're taking every day and whatnot.
Sure.
He's a morning, noon, and nighter. So he was like, I think he was like in the top 10 for most of the summer the last 2 years about, the number of shots and stuff he gets up and works on. So, but last year had to happen a certain way. And what's interesting is it wasn't until the Auburn game, where coach finally draws up 2 plays for him in that game, and he hits them both. And then, the way the season had gone to where he was becoming reliable, that's why I kind of got into that bet you guys were having on the show. Is I'm like, I'm definitely going to buy low on this because I can kind of see where the trajectory is going. And he got better and better as the season went on. And so, he got off to an okay start this year, but then I think for conference he's like over 60% or something like that. But last year had to go a certain way to get to this point, and I 50% is pretty high, but I thought he would definitely be like around a 45 for sure.
You were an early, I don't want to say instigator on Twitter or social media, but you would dive in the conversations, and you would reach out and, like, in this world where every athlete can see their name on there, they get tagged by fans, they get all that. What made you early on when Jackson and other young guys, I mean, like Jackson and Carson are just getting beat up on social media every single day, and whether Michigan State has a center or not was always a huge story and all that stuff. What made you decide to dive in and take it on?
Yeah, I mean, it was the portal this and the portal that. Like, I listened to it from a career standpoint. Like, I'm fading the public perception of most things. I'm looking for what that popular opinion is, and then I'm kind of betting against it. So, like, this whole thing to me just kind of fit in that whole buy low kind of a situation. Just more along the lines as I got to a point where I could finally see the path for my kids, and I was like, all right, well, being that the narrative out here is a tad bit on the negative side, I don't know if I picked a whole lot of fights, but I definitely stood in there and said, like, oh yeah, well, let's see how that goes. Like, kind of instigating some, like, and hopefully I did it in a thoughtful way. But because I thought that if done the right way, when it all came together, it would flip and be a positive. And then all of a sudden, if this kid did his job, he would get more of an outpouring of support from the fan base, which I think is important. And if I catch him, I mean, he sent me something for the first time in his 4 years here. He sent me a snapshot of, who Andy Katz had for all Big Ten if the season ended. He was so pissed. I'm like, first, don't listen to Andy Katz. 2, stay off of social media. 3, just do your job, and it'll take care of itself. But the fans have been great, man. I mean, I feel like that worked to an extent because it's. I mean, he's obviously he's put together a decent year to where he's got a pretty sturdy floor, pretty dependable, pretty consistent. But that, I mean, we're out to dinner and he gets stops, 6-7 times, for a photo, and people tell him, like, you actually, you one of my favorite Spartans, and like stuff like that means a lot to him.
I know there's some listeners to this show that you've interacted with, like Dominic, our friend Dominic, who invited out to your house and all this stuff. You got to be careful of that. You never know what people are actually going to take you up on, Jeff.
It's open door for me. I'll try everybody once, but just no twisted teas. We'll figure it out, like, kind of easy the first time and go from there. But what's funny was, like, I saw what he was saying, and when he put out that kind of more apologetic tweet, and my first response was, I'm going to grill this guy. My wife kind of stops me. She's like, this is a really good opportunity for you to, like, to do it a different way, because I'm in all of my insides. I want to be like, I told you so. And then we had a moment among men, which is why I kind of hold Dominic in kind of a high regard. But that was my wife's doing. My first instinct was maybe something different, but it turned into a good positive, and Dominic's an awesome dude.
Speaking of apologies and other things, you were very close the other day to Paul Davis when he said what he said, and I won't make you repeat the words, but we've heard him at this point. What can you take me through what the section around him within earshot is thinking and saying as all that's happening?
First off, Jason was in his flow state on that episode. I laughed, and the tweet I woke up to, I was in tears for at least a half an hour. It couldn't have nailed the situation any better. The tweet of, Paul Davis looking at the ceiling the morning after. Oh my gosh, I still laugh at that. But one of my favorite tweets of all time, probably top 3. So you could tell right away that he was, and it was probably the late game time, but he walked in there and he wasn't right. And I've been to a lot of games. We've never formally met, but you could tell he was already having a night, and it was early. And he wasn't. I wouldn't say so. It stood out to me that he was kind of he was just in a different place. And I told my wife, I'm like, man, if I knew him, I would probably go over there and sit with him and just kind of, maybe chat him up a little bit, just to kind of, I don't know, just somebody to talk to, somebody just to kind of distract you a little bit. And then I wasn't looking right at him when it happened, but I kind of heard a noise, and she said, "Did you hear what he said?" And then everything just kind of blew up, to where Izzo's kind of looking over like, what's going on? And he was kind of, he was kind of had his head down for a moment until he stood up and hands on the chest. But I don't think I've seen that happen in a sporting event that I've been to before. Well, football, fans fight in the stadium all the time, but they're usually back in the back. But that was just such a unique thing. And he definitely wasn't of sound mind like he normally is. I've been around this guy so many times for 4 years and wouldn't have ever told he was even drinking before. But that night, I mean, you could tell he was flowing a little bit.
When you see these days, you've watched Izzo get into Jaxon for 4 years, right, in different ways at different levels, and now you see Jaxon give it back. What are you thinking when you watch those exchanges?
I think I shared this with you once. When I kind of wanted him to commit on the spot when we came out to the visit, and I remember showing him, hey, we're going to go meet this guy. I showed him the video of where, Izzo almost killed Aaron Henry, out of a timeout, like literally on the floor. And I'm like, do you want to play for this guy? He says, yeah, I do. And I always told him, okay, if you do this, like, don't get caught up in the energy or the fact if he's kind of foaming at the mouth. Rather, just hear the message. Just get the message. If you missed a cutout, if you had a lapse on defense, just get the message. Don't take the insult. Don't take whatever. And the funny thing is, like, when people do the lip reading stuff on Twitter is like unbelievable. But I love that my son has studied the system so much. He knows where he's supposed to be. He knows where he's deficient. So instead of using foot speed, he's using angles. He's using things like he's done everything within his power to maximize, his playing time and his touches and stuff like that. So when he's over there and he's defending his situation and he wins, I mean, I stand up and clap for them both because that's such a moment that, you can go toe to toe with that guy. And like he said in the post game, he's like, I love when a player does that because he cares. Jaxon cares so much. Jaxon just wants to win. He wants to do whatever it takes. And to see Izzo coming out of that smiling and even, giving him an apology in the locker room afterwards. I mean, I thought that was great. I love to see him getting his ass chewed out, obviously, if he, does something, which that was kind of a selfish play where he kept it. But he also, 2 times in that same game in the first half, he caught Cohen for a dunk. He caught, he moved it to the opposite for a 3. So it's not face value. I went after a guy that posted a video of it and says, pass the ball. And I'm like, man, that's the last kid to attack for being selfish. You might as well try to break down the film and see what he was trying to read or wait for. And that never came. So, but the fact that they hashed it out and it ended up in some smiles and I think made the relationship stronger and more trustworthy was awesome.
But I think at this point if anything, more shots for him is probably in order. I think there've been, if you look at their 2 losses, those are games where he had 4 first-half threes, and the ball didn't find him enough in the second half. And I think they're probably well aware of that at this point as well. Jeff, I'm guessing you will be in Seattle and Eugene coming up here.
Yeah, I heard you might be out that way as well.
I will. I'll shoot you a line when I land and when I get out there. So Solari and I have a house in Eugene with a pickleball court out with 3 acres of land.
You guys were going the Airbnb route, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. So we're who knows what's going to actually take place? Maybe we'll throw a shindig or something. Jeff, I appreciate it, man. It's appreciate the time, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
That is Jeff Kohler, Jackson's dad, father of Michigan State basketball parent, with some insight there.
You guys going to throw a shindig?
We're not going to throw a shindig. We wouldn't throw a shindig. We might have, but we would welcome.
Jeff, I'll text you when I hit the ground. I just imagine you on your Delta flight, just like, hey, Jeff, just landed. What's like? What does that mean? Oh, man.
I sound like such a dork when I talk like
I know, dude. That's why I don't like talking to people that I admire, because I admire Jeff Kohler because he proves that you can be a passionate parent and not be a complete douche, right? Because we all get on some of these parents, and I know the parents go off on Twitter, and it's kind of annoying to some people. But if you have a child, like I don't have a child, so I don't get it. But I watch my wife watch her son box, and like she's yelling. He was swearing at Motor City Casino when he was boxing. So people, I get it. Like you know, your child is playing in this environment and like on national TV on a national stage, and you want to go after everybody. The fact that he had to have his wife talk him down from going after Dominic. I mean, what an interview. What a great guy.
Tremendous.
And I know it sounds kiss-assy because we're a Michigan State podcast, but really, seriously, Jeff Kohler does it the right way on Twitter. He knows when to have a good time, and he does go after people, but he does bring up facts after he comes with like facts too.
Well, and Jackson's career is backed it up. I mean, that helps when you're having the season that he's having, that the team's having. I mean, they've got some guy. I mean, there is no doubt that it's at a certain point, like we were talking about that center argument, should they, bring in a center, all that stuff. 2 years ago, that was a legitimate discussion. But when you talk to him about that sophomore year, you sort of understand what Michigan State saw and was thinking and why it didn't happen. The player they thought they were going to get as a sophomore before he got hurt, we never really got to see.
Right.
And so I think that was a lot of the thinking. And
there's been criticisms of Kohler in the past too, but he was sick, had 6 turnovers, had 0 last night. So you kind of expect, Jaxon Kohler gives you what you expect pretty much every night.
Well, he's a great development story at Michigan State. Right. He is, and he's a guy who's turned himself into. I think he'll get a look at the next level because he does 2 things elite, right? Rebounder, especially on the offensive end, but elite college rebounder, and you're talking about a 50% 3-point shooter as a guy who's his size. And it's, Draymond Green talked about this when he got to the pros, and they, he could only do one thing at the NBA level, he said at that point, and it was rebound, and it got him on the court and it allowed him to figure everything else out. The worst thing you can be at the NBA level is a jack of all trades, like a good college scorer who's not quite good enough for the pros or whatever it is. You got to do something at an elite level, and whether Jackson does it at an elite level enough, we'll find out. But I think he will get a look just because of those 2 traits will stand out and will grab people's attention. Those are 2 things the NBA wants. They want outside shooting, guys who can stretch the floor, and guys who can protect the glass and create second chances. And I think what he's doing this year will give him a look at that. Because he's rebounding at the level that only Draymond Green and Xavier Tillman and Antonio Smith have done in the Izzo era. And he's shooting threes at a pace that only Joey Hauser has of stretch 4 and big man at MSU. So,
and by the way, how has Paul Davis and Jeff Kohler not been introduced to each other? They've not. Like Paul Davis goes to all the games, right? You would think at some point they would run into each other. That was wild. He said he's like kind of been around him for 4 years.
Yeah, but there are a lot of guys who played who are around all the time. I don't know.
Right? I'm just saying.
But yeah, you're right. You'd think that might. I don't know. I can see how it wouldn't happen as well.
And by the way,
back to the white elephant in the room. They don't want to deal with the white elephant in the room.
Can we talk about the white elephant in the room? Coen Carr.
Okay.
I love Coen Carr. But what has to happen here? Like, I know that we're trying to ignore it.
No, nobody's trying to. So,
well, I'm just saying, because Coen Carr is going to be a big reason if they have national championship aspirations. They need Coen Carr to get out of this funk somehow.
So a couple things on last night, and I was struggling with this with the. I nearly did a take on it. I just didn't have time to formulate it.
What was the take?
Well, the take is I thought he was superb defensively.
Yes,
I thought he was really, really good and important on maybe the toughest defensive assignment of the game. And so there's that side of it, and that takes a lot out of you. And so his biggest mission last night was that. And so one of the things I thought about writing and didn't, because I want to see something play out a little more for him. Like, he did it he has not been called upon to be that guy at Michigan State. And so my question with him then becomes, if you're the guy when the other team has a dangerous wing, and you've got to defend them and shut them down too much, but really make them work and take that team out of what they want to do, and you're able to do that, that makes your value enormous. They've shown that they don't need a ton of scoring from him, right? That's just not who he's going to be. There are games where it fits, where it works, where it's what's there because it's in transition or he's got a matchup. I think there's more he needs to give offensively. I think there's no question about it. I think when he plays with purpose, where he's attacking the paint, both with the ball and going after rebounds, he's just a better player. He's an effective player beyond just getting up and down the floor. The outside shot would be a beautiful thing for him if it ever comes along. And like I've said, I've seen him in practice hit, like,
and it's all I can stop.
Spots.
It's all I think about during games now.
And
so
so
he hits 33s in practice, and then when he takes one at the Breslin Center, it looks like, like last night, it was an air ball. But I just don't know if he needs to build some confidence, maybe take a dribble in, get some, some confidence, some short range.
And he does that. I think he hit another one last night where he did that. I'm trying to remember if that was him. I think that was him, where it was, he's sort of that 17-foot range from the elbow. He seems to have more confidence with. I don't think he's a corner three-point shooter. I think that needs to be nicked from the offense entirely. I remember I've talked about this with Denzel Valentine all those years ago before he became a great shooter, how much that I thought that hurt that 2013-14 team when he was just a sophomore. The ball found him there. Like, you have to realize.
But it's not hard to end it when it's not working. Like, try something else, right?
Well, the challenge is if you're a wing, naturally in their offense, having a wing who can hit a corner three is kind of nice. It helps separate things. And it's something that a guy like Jordan Scott can do when he's on the wing, when he's in there. Yeah. They do have to play around with that and make sure the ball doesn't find him in the corner too much, and he's got to do more offensively. But if you become an elite defender, if you become the guy they can rely on to really bother people, and a lot of your energy goes to that.
But does that mean you get 31 minutes if you're that deficient on the offensive end?
Well, if you're that good defensively, they just won by 21 points against Indiana.
I understand. I'm talking, that was perseverance, and that was a great win last night. I'm talking about going forward and as far as national championship aspirations. Well, you're going to need Coen Carr to snap out of this.
What it sort of depends on is you have to have enough shooting. Yeah. And so last night you get it from. I mean, they've gotten it from Kohler, right? He's become a guy who's hitting 2 a game. Usually, I mean, it won last night, but pretty much before that, it was at least 2 a night and at about 50% clip. So you're getting what you need there. But what you need is, does Kurtang and does Jordan Scott, do those 2 players, can they shoot like they did last night? Right. Because the reason Coen Carr's shooting becomes an issue is because they don't have enough other shooters. It's not an issue. It wasn't an issue last year, right? It really wasn't. He figured out a lot more of the offense. He hit some other. It really wasn't an issue last year. It became an issue this year because, number one, I think people thought he was going to take a certain kind of step and it was going to look a certain way, and he hasn't entirely. But the other thing is there's a if he's not doing good things for you anywhere, like if he wasn't playing well defensively and he's giving you that offensively, then that's a thing. That's an issue. But if he's doing something elite on one end of the court and you're scoring enough to beat somebody by 21 points.
Sure.
And the thing he is not he's not like this selfish player who hangs his head, who takes bad shots. The thing he doesn't do is take bad shots. He just doesn't make some of the ones he takes. Then you can live with that. There's not this inefficiency about him. And he'll airball a 3 or 2 that's memorable. But it's not like he's going, 4 for 17 and taking a ton of shots. He understands. He's a player who kind of understands his offensive limitations. I'm sure they drive him insane as well, especially when he's in practice on a machine or with managers, passing him the ball. He's hitting a lot of threes. Like, it's not like he's incapable of this. But yeah, no, it's a good question. We'll get into a lot of that in the Groovy Donut Twitter questions coming up here in a little bit.
Well, I just like to talk about it because it's not a glaring thing of like you're disappointed when you see Coen Carr because defensively he was that way, and the dunk, you got the crowd excited and all that. But I'm just looking forward to going into March here of what we're going to need from Coen Carr. I just want him to snap out of it and maybe get a couple easy jump shots here and there. I'm not even looking for 3-pointers right now. I just want to get some mid-range stuff going.
No, and it's true. And he's had way too many games where he's sort of disappeared offensively.
Right.
And it's not even about
3 rebounds.
It's not even about the shot, right? It's like it's the consistency of. Now there are going to be games that are more for him in terms of, like Indiana did a good job of taking away for a while the. There was one play where they threw it ahead to him, and Indiana had like 3 guys back, and I think he wound up turning it over. He got fouled there or whatever. Indiana, clearly he's on the scouting report as when he gets a breakaway, fast break, that's worth more than a couple points. That changes momentum. That does a lot of things. Teams do not want that to happen. Last night, or a Tuesday night, whatever night it was, Indiana's play was to make Fears beat them offensively for a while. And Fears did, to his credit. But they were trying to take everything out of the way. And then on the break, they weren't stopping Fears, but they were worried about the wings and stopping everything else. And Fears made him, great acceleration getting through. And I thought he had a really good game and took what was there. But there's no question offensively, they could use shooting from Coen Carr, but that's not going to be paramount to their season. What they need from Coen Carr is consistent sort of consistent aggression offensively, I would say, is the way to put it, where he's attacking the glass, he's in the paint, he's trying to take advantage of his advantages. And if he does that, he's going to be a 10-point-a-game guy. And if he's a 10-point, 6-rebound guy while playing great defense, that's fine. And he's up and down the floor. But, yeah, it's legitimate because he does disappear on offense, and he's, one of their core guys and a guy I think that they thought was going to take a bigger step than that. We will get into all of this, a lot more MSU basketball in the Groovy Donut Twitter questions momentarily. We're going to take a quick break. Before we get to the Twitter questions, we're going to pick the football games. We're going to do our golf bets. We're going to do, maybe some Australian Open stuff.
Dude, repost my golf bets in the break. Come on, get some people looking at these. Come on, how dare you?
Right now, I'm on it. We'll be right back. Couch in the Roof, presented by our friends at Firekeepers Casino and iCasino and Sportsbook app and Front 43 Neighborhood Pub and Cask & Company Kitchen and Bar.
Where else can you cheer on your team, enjoy a mouth-watering burger or savory sushi, sip on handcrafted cocktails, or one of 46 beers on tap? Take your game day or date night to Cask & Company Kitchen Bar or Front 43 Neighborhood Pub near Frandor. 2 amazing places with 1 awesome blended modern American-Asian menu. Catch the game on one of 30 60-inch TVs or stop in for the all-you-can-eat lunch buffet. Enjoy happy hour or elevate your night out at Cask & Company or Front 43 on East Saginaw in Lansing. Come enjoy irresistible, award-winning, handcrafted donuts and locally roasted coffee at Groovy Donuts. Surprise your family or coworkers with special holiday designs and flavors, or put the perfect finishing touch on an event with a custom order. Birthdays, weddings, gender reveals, our friends at Groovy Donuts are your answer. Experience the Groovy Donuts difference for yourself on Lake Lansing Road in East Lansing or in Williamston. Get more information or place an order at groovydonuts.com. If you're looking for a relaxed vibe, great food, and an outstanding beer selection, Midtown Brewing Company in downtown Lansing is your place. Enjoy their famed chicken and waffle fries, fish and chips, or any of their delicious burgers or salads. Midtown Brewing Company also offers 40-plus beers on tap, including ciders and seasonal offerings and daily happy hour specials. The spacious and cozy vibe makes Midtown Brewing Company a perfect place for a beer with a friend, a work lunch, or to watch the games on its big screen TVs. If you'd rather eat at home, Midtown Brewing Company offers a terrific carryout menu and free delivery on orders of $20 or more. Visit MidtownBrewingCompany.net or stop by 402 South Washington in downtown Lansing for the Midtown Brewing Company experience.
Couch in the Rube, our Wednesday night show presented by our friends at Front 43 Neighborhood Pub and Cask & Company Kitchen and Bar, and as well as Firekeepers Casino and iCasino and Sportsbook app. And it is time to pick the games this week, give our best bets, presented by Firekeepers, iCasino, and Sportsbook app. A lot of great football this weekend, Jason. Some other stuff, golf going on, soccer, tennis. This is like, we're hitting a great, like when I was emailing the guy at the Airbnb that Solari and I are staying at in Eugene, my question was about...
Do you have bunk beds?
Well, they do have a bunk bed for us. But my question was also about television setups.
Nice.
And what was needed. Do I need to bring a Roku? Like, what are we dealing with here? Because there's a lot of games. There's a lot of big stuff I want to watch, and I just need to know what we're dealing with.
Doesn't every Airbnb have a TV, though?
They do, but some places it's you have a full setup, and they're locked into some great cable package. Other places you're like, hey, sweet, they have Netflix. You know, like that's so you gotta make sure you have. Let's do the football first.
Let's do it,
and then we'll dig in to other things we like this weekend. Your golf picks, which I did just retweet from the Couch in the Rube account.
Thank God.
All right,
Come on, where's my golfers at? Where are these?
All right, let's start Saturday.
B-Mac, I know he has picks.
Bills Broncos. Bills now a 1-point dog in Denver. Who you got?
Man, this is a tough one because I want to go Josh Allen here in Denver with Sean Payton, though. Bills injuries. Down to how many wide receivers do they have? They have like Keon Coleman, Diggs,
secondary,
who should be in
up.
prison, I think, right? Diggs. I don't trust Bo Nix. Man, this is tough. Give me Josh Allen in Buffalo. This is a fade, though, right? In real gambling terms,
real game. It's a
we're
total
doing this
stay
for
away.
a pick between you and I.
Yeah. This
doesn't help anybody at home.
This
by
is
the
a
way,
problem game for the NFL because it's an unbettable game to me. And,
it really is,
and you don't want that if you're the NFL. It makes it to a lot of people
touchdown bets.
It'll be an
do those props.
Be an interesting game. But yeah, for the sake of this game, Denver at home with their defense, I think maybe finds a way to get it done. But I don't trust this Broncos team at all. I'll take the Broncos. All right, the night game. The game in Seattle, the game that messed with Michigan State basketball start time because Michigan State's at 6 Eastern time. This game's at 8 Eastern time in the same city. It's going to be an interesting crowd out there for that. 49ers +7 at the Seahawks. We just saw this game a couple weeks ago. The Seahawks just completely suffocated them, and that's why I think a lot of people thought that was going to happen with Philly's defense against the 49ers. It did not, but they've lost George Kittle. They're not the same team. Seahawks -7 feels about right as a line. I'm going to take the Seahawks here. It's hard to beat a team the same way twice. This is a great teaser line to me. Throw it in a money line parlay. Throw it in a teaser at -7. You get it down to 1 or whatever. I like that a lot, but I'll take the Seahawks here. How about you?
I just don't know if I trust Sam Darnold to cover the 7. I've seen this at 7.5 at some books, and I would really jump on it with 7.5. I just like the way San Francisco scrap. You know, George Kittle's out now too, and the 49ers are banged up and injured, but I feel like if you got Purdy and McCaffrey and Shanahan and you give me 7.5, I'll take the 7 as well. Give me San Francisco.
So you're taking San Fran.
I'm taking San Fran with the points.
Okay.
I think Seattle wins this game, but I think San Fran with that touchdown. I just don't trust Sam Darnold to cover that.
All right, Sunday, Texans-Patriots. The first game at the Shangri-La Couch Solari. The Texans +3 at the Patriots. We just saw what the Texans' defense can be. The Patriots are good. They're better than I think people gave them credit for. But where are you here? We'll start. Where you got?
Sorry, I couldn't stop thinking about you and Solari saying you telling Jeff Kohler that you guys were going to have a shindig.
Right.
I couldn't think anything beyond that.
Be the
just
two
you
of
and
us.
Solari sitting in this person's home.
2 of us under a blanket, bottle of wine. Yeah.
I feel like this game is just going to be awful though, because Houston's D is good. New England, I like their. Oh man, give me the Patriots -3. I'll give the 3.
I'm going to take the other side of this.
It's not like Stroud. I didn't like the way Stroud was talking shit to the Steelers fans after giving up 5 fumbles.
So that's the reason I like the Texans in this game, not because of the way Stroud was behaving that way. Yeah. And I like them also in a teaser. You get this one up to like 10. If you get a 7-point teaser, Seahawks down to a pick 'em, Texans with 10. I like to some degree. It's not my favorite, but part of it is I think the Texans defense is good. And I don't think Stroud's going to play that poorly again. If he does, then the Patriots will beat him. But so give me the Texans. The late game, the final game. The game that's going to, Dominic's mental health and a lot of other people, Rams, Bears. Rams minus 3.5 against the Bears. Probably
weather's going to be brutal.
And the weather's going to affect it. I mean, it's supposed to be windy and frigid. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think the Rams are a better team, but they have not been playing great and convincing in a little while. And the Bears have moments where they don't even look that good, and then they have the second half like they did against the Packers. 3.5 to me at home is too much. Home dog, 3.5. Like if this under 3, this is one of those games under 3. I'd probably take the Rams. Over 3, I'd take the Bears here. I don't love it either way. I do like some teaser options on the Rams, maybe to get it. Are
you really that scared of the Bears though? I know the Rams on the road.
I'm just the weather and
Stafford's a gamer. He knows how to play in this kind of shit. And McVay's not going to pull a LaFleur.
I like.
And the Packers got out to a big lead. If the Rams get out to a big lead like that in the first half, he's not going to blow it.
I like the Rams on the money line thrown in with like the Seahawks, something like that. I like that.
Really? You don't want to even give a 3? Like, is the hook scaring you? Because I give a 3.
Yeah, the hook scares me.
I don't like the fact that this is only 3.5.
Yeah.
I wish it were Rams favored by 7.5 or something, because I need the Rams to win this game. I need this to end now.
For your mental health. Yeah.
Yes, I cannot stand another win in my household. My house divided. So I'm picking the Rams. Give me the Rams.
Plus, I want to see Rams Seahawks part 2. I think that's a fun.
I want to see anybody but the Bears. To be honest with you, I can't handle this.
All right, Monday night, another potential parlay. You throw Indiana as a money line at minus 350 with somebody in the NFL. Indiana minus 8.5 against Miami. Here's the problem: Miami's winning with such margin these days. Indiana's winning with such margin these days. Yeah. It's scary as hell. Like betting against Indiana right now feels insane. I do think this Miami defensive front and line on both is as good as anything Indiana's seen. And I mean, Indiana may be the same for Miami, but I just wonder if all of a sudden it's
when is this game? Like 2 weeks from now, or
no? It's this coming Mondays.
Oh, okay.
4:30 Pacific time.
All right.
In Eugene and 7:30 here.
Does that affect it at all, or you don't care?
What's that?
The time in between, or just like
not a ton. Not a ton.
I mean, the 8.5 makes me. Yeah, of course, as someone that likes the points and sees that, but man, Indiana could have that covered by half.
It's a scary thing.
I juggernaut.
I like Indiana again. Like what I probably like here is if you were to do a 6-point teaser that gets Indiana down to minus 2.5 and the Seahawks down to minus 1. I think that's an interesting deal. I kind of like as well. I like Indiana to win the game because betting against Indiana right now seems like a really stupid thing. But 8.5 is a big number. So give me Indiana for the sake of this. But that's probably too much for me to.
Yeah, I got to say I'm going to take Miami with the points. I'll go Patty Public.
All right,
and give me those points. Give me the 8.5.
All right, Jason, it's time. Golf is back. Give us your golf bets for this week.
The Sony Open picks, the top 40, because we're doing top 40 and top 30s. We're trying to be smarter golf bettors this year, even though I have 3 first-round leader picks. But that's just a little sprinkle, because you have to do that in week 1. You can't sit there and be timid on week 1. Sony Open picks, top 40, plus 285. This 2-leg parlay, 2 golfers. Bud Cauley, who finished T30 last year at the Sony Open, in 2025, accurate with a driver, and if he can get the putter going, I don't see why he can't finish in a top 40. Emiliano Grillo, top 40. He missed the cut last year, but finished T7 in 24, so he's been around this course before. He knows how to go low here. Shots gain approach, shots gain putting, have jumped, so I love a top 40 here. Make the cut, give me a top 40. We're not asking for too much here. Now, what we're going to ask for is a top 30 next. Remember, 2 golfers, 2-leg parlay. If you go more than that, it just gets out of hand. It's just stupid. I mean, golf betting's hard enough. Don't make it harder on yourself. You want to have some fun with this. Top 30 plus 393, Graham. Brian Harmon, the Waggle King, major winner of the Open a couple years ago. This is a perfect course for Brian Harmon. And second on this 2-leg parlay, my boy Jake Knapp. People are going to expect him to bomb and gouge because he can do both. But he's better with his wedges on short grass. If he's accurate this week, my boy Jake Knapp can finish top 30. That's plus 393. And like I mentioned, we're sprinkling on first-round leaders. We're talking little $5, $2 bets here. Cam Davis to lead after the first round. He tees off early in Hawaii tomorrow. These guys tee off around like noon before all the guys gouge up the course. So I'm picking these 3 guys. Cam Davis at 110-1. To be the first-round leader. Seamus Power, this is a course for him, 80-1. And Denny McCarthy. I don't know why he's 71. I think he should be a little higher. But my boy Denny McCarthy, if he putts well, he can be a first-round leader. So those are my Sony Open bets.
All right, I got a couple soccer. Well, really one soccer bet this weekend in the Premier League that I really like. Arsenal -1 at Nottingham Forest. Arsenal -1. They took care of business in the in the cup today against Chelsea. At least winning the first leg of that. Nottingham Forest. Look, I know it's at Nottingham Forest. This is not last year's Nottingham Forest. Arsenal is a train right now. I don't know that they'll win by more than one, but if they're going to win, I really believe they're going to win this game. They have not lost. They have not tied the stupid games they did last year, where they tie games they should have won. And so, worst thing that happens if they win 1-0 or win 1-0 is you get your stake back. Not a big deal. They win 2-0, you win money. I think it's a pretty safe bet that they win at least by 1 and you get your stake back. So Arsenal -1. Australian Open draw comes out Thursday. So the draw will matter for some of this, but you're looking for value here. So you're not betting Sinners -140. That's insane. Like, you can get that in the final. You don't need to bet that now. He's got to win 6 matches to get there. Alcaraz +150. Don't love that either. Djokovic has proven he can't beat those guys in long things. The guy who's starting to play better again, who had a meltdown at the end of last year, Medvedev. You can get him between 25 and 30 to 1. He won a tournament last week, or got to close to, if he didn't win it, he went a long way. Medvedev has gotten it back together. He's a guy, if one of those guys isn't on their day, can really play well. 25 to 30 to 1. There's good value with him. And on the women's side, I probably like Mira Andreeva at 14 to 1. It's really tough on the women's side. There's a lot of different people between Sabalenka, Swiatek, Andreeva, Rybakina, Anisimova, all those, a lot of those.
The classic names.
I don't like Coco Gauff. Not I don't like her personally. I'm just saying, she's not going to win this thing. That would be those are my Australian Open picks. So it would go with.
What about live betting Australian Open with the tennis? Like you mentioned, like Sinner, Alcaraz. I think there's value. I mean, obviously you have to be watching. You have to be on your app. But I think you can get a better number on some of those guys live betting, right?
Yeah, and you can get a sense. Some of these guys, like a Bublik, he some games isn't into it and others is, but they will be in the U.S. Open. Sometimes you get a guy that's down a little bit, even after you can get better numbers slightly. You can find some podcasts and out there that will really break this stuff down. But yeah, you can. I love the Australian Open because I love being up late weird hours of the night, betting tennis. I think it's a lot of fun.
Whoa,
yeah.
It's like she was in here.
Yeah.
Wow.
So anyway, that is what we are betting this week, presented by our friends at Firekeepers and the Firekeepers Casino and Sportsbook app. Download the app today, or just swing on by Dacey's Taproom and Sportsbook for the in-house sportsbook experience off I-94 in Battle Creek. We will take another quick break. We come back. Time for your Groovy Donut Twitter questions. Couch in the Rube, presented by Firekeepers and the Firekeepers Casino and Sportsbook app, and Front 43 Neighborhood Pub and Cask & Company Kitchen and Bar.
Where else can you cheer on your team? Enjoy a mouth-watering burger or savory sushi, sip on handcrafted cocktails, or one of 46 beers on tap. Take your game day or date night to Cask & Company Kitchen Bar or Front 43 Neighborhood Pub near Frandor. 2 amazing places with one awesome blended modern American Asian menu. Catch the game on one of 30 60-inch TVs or stop in for the all-you-can-eat lunch buffet. Enjoy happy hour or elevate your night out at Cask & Company or Front 43 on East Saginaw in Lansing. Ever wonder how comfortable you can be and how good you can look? Put on a Muskox flannel and find out. Muskox has new arrivals for this fall, including the Caper Green Grand Flannel, which even makes couch look good. Muskox is a Detroit-based flannel company that creates soft and durable flannels made to last a lifetime. They become a great partner with Couch in the Rube, not just because they make us look good and feel good, but because they're good people too, and a socially conscious company. For every $100 purchase, $10 is donated to the Alaska Wildlife Conservation. Muskox flannels are designed with 100% cotton that is ethically sourced and double brushed for softness. Feel the quality and comfort of a Muskox flannel by ordering at GoMuskox.com, where Couch in the Rube listeners can enjoy $15 off their flannel purchase with the promo code HOFF. Come enjoy irresistible, award-winning, handcrafted donuts and locally roasted coffee at Groovy Donuts. Surprise your family or coworkers with special holiday designs and flavors, or put the perfect finishing touch on an event with a custom order. Birthdays, weddings, gender reveals, our friends at Groovy Donuts are your answer. Experience the Groovy Donuts difference for yourself on Lake Lansing Road in East Lansing or in Williamston. Get more information or place an order at groovydonuts.com.
Couch in the Rube, our Wednesday night show presented by our friends at Front 43 Neighborhood Pub and Cask and Company Kitchen and Bar. Amazing place for a private event. You can call and ask for the private room. And I think it's option 2 when you call and you get the desk. And if you're going to have a party, you're going to have any sort of gathering or a work function, or just want a big room for yourself where you're waited on, you can do that at Front 43 and Cask and Company. Time now for Groovy Donut Twitter questions.
Dominic up first. For Jason, my friend asked me what Lions fans seem to have more vitriol for the Bears than the Lions. I said it was because the Bears ran the division in the 80s and were kind of loud assholes. Do you agree, or is this more recency rage with Ben Johnson? Well, come on, Dominic. It's obvious, like, recency rage. I mean, I was dead inside in 2022. Then we went to Ford Field and watched, after that slow start to the season, played the Bears. T and I went to that game, and it was kind of a turnaround from there. So before then, I never really cared about, when she rooted for the Bears, because she didn't really root for the Bears either at that time. So it's more of just, the Ben Johnson thing is bringing it out in me. And I'm not going to give high fives to her when watching the fucking Bears. So, I mean, honestly, the 80s Bears, that was the Super Bowl shuffle shit. I mean, that was so long ago.
I was rooting for the Bears in that game. I mean, I was like a 5-year-old front runner, Like, do you think there's a chance that for some people, it's different for everybody. It's how old you were and different things happen. There are people who are older than us who might have hated the 85 Bears when you're a Lions fan. There might be some people who just hate the fact that Chicago it limits Detroit as a city because it gets to be the big fun city in the Midwest, which takes away from Detroit to some degree. There might be people who, just always hate them as a rival. And there might be I look back at my senior year in college when I was living in Chicago was the year that the Lions went 2-14 with Ty Detmer playing quarterback, and the Bears went 13-3, and it was like, so there's always something, like, you know what I mean? Like, everybody's got their own experiences.
I know I was not rooting for the Bears in the playoffs that year or in their Super Bowl run. The 06 with Lovie Smith. I mean, I've never rooted for them. But it goes back with the Bulls. When we were younger, we loved watching Mike. I did anyway. I loved watching Michael Jordan play. I had his shoes. I had Bulls gear. It's just a different, now that I'm older, it's just I'm more cranky, and fuck the Bears. But I think Bears fans, I was trying to tell T this, they should take it as a compliment that I hate the Bears. Because that means you guys are back. That means you guys are doing things that I hate. If I didn't care about you, that means that you're no threat at all. So I don't know what the problem is with that.
I think that's one of the most noticeable things in my absence of fandom. Like, I still like to see the Lions do really well, and I'm still to some level.
So impressive how you guys shut it off, man.
No, what I mean is it's the visiting stuff. Like, in the Bears, to some degree, I did not like the Bears growing up for a long time. But the team I really hated that I don't have a problem with anymore, and you can't fake how you feel emotionally, is the Packers. When Brett Favre was beating up on the Lions and I was a teenager, my hatred when they were threatening the Broncos in the Super Bowl, and my hatred for the Packers at a certain stage in my life was almost second to nothing. Yeah. And now I don't feel any of that stuff, but I wonder, for everybody it's different. And I don't hate this Bears team. I think Ben Johnson's corny. I mean, I think he's a great coach, but I think you can hear him when he gives his post-game speeches like trying to be Dan Campbell. It's not him. It's not who if he didn't. Those speeches would sound so different if he didn't coach under Dan Campbell for 2 years.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
That's actually Dan. It's not Ben Johnson. Yeah. Who is that? Is that Ben Johnson or Dan Campbell? But somewhat in Ben Johnson's defense, though, I mean, you have to be a football guy. Just Dan Campbell does it at an elite level. Right. Because he looks the part. The problem is that Ben Johnson's a little scrawny white guy. Dan Campbell is a giant, he's a beast. It looks like he could still play on Sundays. So it's a little different. Like in Ben Johnson, I know, but you have to do those rah-rah bullshit things. And I did appreciate that he was not apologizing after he didn't go at LaFleur, but he was a quick handshake. He's like, we don't like that. What? I like that. Bring that back into sports. I don't. That's why I have Ben Johnson's back on that. I mean, LaFleur's a penis and should have been a quick handshake. And F the Packers after the game.
I think it's almost better. Like, you just beat a team where their coach coached a horrible second half, and you were better. I think it's better to look them in the eye, shake their hand, and basically said, Ben
Johnson's first half wasn't really that great either.
It was not. It
kind of emptied the clip on his trick plays. It was wild. But you know what I mean? I kind of like a little bit of that in my sports. I like when guys are chippy. I mean, come on, how fun are basketball games? Even if you don't care about the game,
But I want
if you
real-
tune in and see a little chippiness, you go, "Oh, I got to pay attention to this."
I
These
want
guys won't like it.
authentic chippiness. This was fake. This was created out of nothing. This is like if Kyle Whittingham shows up at Michigan and immediately goes, "Fuck Urban Meyer. I hate Ohio State," when they're friends.
Ben Johnson's been doing this to the Packers even when he was with us.
Okay.
He'd like dunking on the Packers, and I can appreciate that.
Okay, maybe you're right.
I just love the passion sometimes. I mean, sure, you can be respectful after the fact, but anyway. Dominic, do you know why I said for Jason Graham? It's because I don't have a question about the 89 Denver Broncos, you Steve Atwater motherfucker. Steve Atwater, number 27.
That's a deep that's a good recall. I love Steve Atwater as a kid. Man, that was safety for the Broncos. Bobby Humphreys, the running back. Man, that was
good old days. Vance Johnson.
Man.
Dominic, what's worse? Ebling's Rich Kincaid interviews yesterday that was all background noise from a dinner party, or being eaten by a great white shark over the course of 15 hours? Rich Kincaid. Man. Dominic deserves an award, I think. Like he puts a lot of hours
he
in
listens.
show.
Yeah, he listens.
My God. Is Ebling just phoning it in? Is he at a Ponderosa? He's just got his phone on speaker. Jesus. Hopeless Fanatic. Which freshman is more important in unlocking MSU's half-court offense? Cam Ward or Jordan Scott?
Well, I would say it's Jordan Scott in the sense that he provides shooting, and that's the thing Michigan State needs to make sure they have and at a position that they lack. Like Cam Ward, I think, provides an essential role, but he plays power forward, and Michigan State has an elite college power forward in Jaxon Kohler, right? So to me, I think Cam Ward, you can argue if they have enough shooting elsewhere, and some of the stuff Cam Ward does is incredibly important.
Don't coach my team.
But it's Jordan Scott, because you're stretching the floor, it depends what they wind up needing, because they're just such different players. But Jordan Scott's the answer.
The urinal or portal.
Jarrett next. Can you think of a player on Michigan State's men's basketball that is anything like Jordan Scott? He feels like a unicorn player for Izzo. If he improves his handle more, he could do anything on the floor.
Yeah, he's like a taller, eventually better shooting already version of Charlie Bell. Like when I watch him, Charlie Bell was like 6'3", so he's like 3-4 inches shorter. But he's a great rebounding guard. He was always in the right place, did all the right stuff early on, wound up starting as a shooting guard, and later obviously played the point guard. But could sort of turn himself into a All-American point guard as a senior actually too. But that's sort of when I see Scott, it's just this guy completely understands what the team needs at the time. I thought Jeff Kohler brought up an interesting point on that pass from Carson Cooper that found him at the end of the shot clock, where he had like zero time to get that shot off, so you don't have time to think. And I think that's something, the less he thinks, because he thinks naturally, he sees the game. It's not like he's not a dumb player, so the less he thinks and worries about shots going in, the better they are. To me, he can still take bad shots, and I'm not saying you should take bad shots, but there are very, very few bad shots. You want him taking every open shot at every opportunity. Same for Kerr Tang, frankly. I think those two guys are so important to this team. Not that they're in starring offensive roles, but that they're in shot-making roles for MSU.
Scotty Green's El Camino next. What are the chances that Fears is a top 3-point guard of all time? I think we talk about this a lot, though. He's just got to win.
Yeah, because
I think it's high percentage.
Well, you're talking. You start with Mateen and Cassius. Well, and if you're going to talk Magic, if Magic's also on the list, we're talking Izzo era, then there's a chance. But if you're not talking Izzo era, then you're throwing Scott Skiles in the mix, and you're throwing Magic Johnson in the mix, and it gets really hard to make the top three with Mateen, Magic, Skiles, Cassius. Now, I'm not saying he can't get there, but to get there, you do have to win at a certain level to get into that conversation, to eclipse. First of all, the two guys who led national championships, to surpass them, because the argument with Cassius and Mateen is a legitimate one. What Cassius became a player, and he didn't get that chance. But Cassius or Mateen certainly the most important player of the Izzo era. So, yeah, I mean, it's not that it's not impossible to get there, but you are truly walking among greats if you do. And he has more Skiles to him than almost anybody else. Skiles had the most FU of him of any point guard. I mean, he was the guy that, like, when he heard somebody was saying shit about him, he dropped 40 on you. Like, Skiles and Fears actually had quite a bit in common. Fears is a better defensive player, not quite as good a shooter, very different players. But in terms of mentality, I wouldn't say those two are completely unalike.
Scotty Green's El Camino, what are the chances that Scott starts to explode offensively, kind of like Richardson did last year? And from Jonathan Smith's burner, is it time for Izzo to take the reins off of Jordan Scott like he did with Jace Richardson against Rutgers and Oregon? And from G. Kwang, when does MSU start Scott? Ugachukwu is too similar to Fears, and Tang is too inconsistent, so the starting lineups look wonky these past few games.
Yeah, I don't see Scott having the same year that Richardson did. Number one, we're deeper into the year. By this point, we saw it with Richardson too often, right? And there were games, and even when it was hard to believe, when they played Kansas, like in the Champions Classic, it was already like, whoa, Richardson may be the best offensive player on the team at that point. So I don't think he'll explode offensively, but I do think that there's a decent chance this year he becomes a much bigger part of things offensively. And and I don't know if the reins are really on. They turn to him when they need. Like yesterday or Tuesday night, they've got it's a 1-point game. They've got Cam Ward at the scorer's table, and things had just gotten dicey. And Doug Wojcik looks down and calls for Jordan Scott. That was their answer. Those two went in, scored 8 of 10 points. They take control of the game. That was part of that huge run they went on. So, like, to me, I don't think there are reins on him in terms of like starting. I wouldn't start him. I wouldn't, because I think he is in a lot of ways their best player at that position. He plays a lot on the wing too. He played a lot with Kurt Tang, which I really liked. I would be starting Kurt Tang. I agree with you on the clunky rotation. I think that's just the way I think Kurt Tang's their best pure shooter on the team. I think, despite his rough start, when he really gets going, you see the value he has. I think starting probably matters more to him. You're going to finish with Scott anyway a lot of the time. I would start Kurt Tang and to fix your rotation.
Scotty Green's El Camino, currently, what is your guy's favorite band?
Do you have a favorite band right now?
Royal Otis.
Really?
Yeah. It's an indie pop rock band. I've had a lot of Australian like indie rock come my way.
Okay.
In my algorithm on Spotify. I love Royal Otis.
That's a great question. Yeah.
Great band too.
That's a good question. Everybody knows I'm like a Springsteen fan and all that stuff, and I listen to a lot of E Street radio. But yeah, that's a good. I don't know if I have a band right now that's like this would be my favorite.
You just said it, Bruce, right?
Yeah, Bruce is probably
your second favorite though. You like anything new or?
Yeah, no, nothing happens.
See, I like to do that on Spotify. Like, I listen to a lot of Sirius XM, the John Mayer channel on there. It's like always on in our house. So I'll hear something, go from there. But I get a lot of new suggestions because I like to hear some new music because a lot of it's shit.
I thought music stopped after 97, so I didn't know there was new music. No, I'm kidding, except for a few Bruce things. But
stopped after 2013, I think.
I Bruce is number one. He has more different types of music that I like. But I listen to a lot of, I listen to new and old country. I'll listen to 90s, pop. I'll listen to
new
80s.
Country is so bad.
When I say new country, I mean 2000s. There's no new country. New country. I mean, like I like some of the cool like 80s, 70s, some interesting old school country as well.
If you're gonna throw a shindig, what are you gonna play?
Well, do you want to? If you want to shut down a shindig, I can tell you how we used to end parties in college. When we wanted to close the thing down.
Yeah.
In our big residence hall, which was a huge place at Columbia College, we put on Charlie Daniels. Because you know what happens when you put on Charlie Daniels? The women leave. And then the guys follow them. That's how you
Except
shut
the
down.
hillbilly guys that come out. Hell yeah, this is my favorite song. God damn, who put this on? Come here.
That was our trick.
It's soft white guy over here. Come here, buddy.
Man. And look, I love that stuff. I like.
You like Charlie Daniels?
Some of it. I like. I like the. I listen to a lot of that stuff. The George Straits of the old time. Yeah, I like a lot of that stuff.
All right, Jonathan Smith's burner. What do you guys make of Sheila Ford Hamp's comments about 2025 being unacceptable? Are you buying it, or is it the same Ford family BS? I don't know. What does Rod Wood think? I might as well hear from him too. I think Sheila Ford Hamp is a nice person. I mean, I just don't care what she says. You know what I mean?
But she does have some credibility because of what's happened since she took. No?
Mm-mm.
Okay. I think she does.
Why?
Because she's stuck with Campbell. Everything that's happened under her has just been better than it happened.
With Campbell? Where was he? Was he on the hot seat?
Well, yeah, when they were like 1-6 that one year, she was the one who said this is the right guy.
She's not they're not going to make a move like that at that time. They had to give him a chance to figure stuff out. I mean, yeah, it was 1-6 and it was dire, but it wasn't like, come on, the Ford family's never been known. This is a guy that Matt Millen hung around for almost 15 effing years. So it's like, it's fine. I get what you're saying. It's great that an owner says it's unacceptable, but it doesn't, I don't know. What does that mean? Right? Like, it doesn't mean anything's going to change. Or
we need to see the offseasons.
Right. This is a big year for Brad Holmes. Unfortunately, I just don't care what she says. I care what Brad Holmes is going to do in this offseason. That's pretty much it.
And that right there speaks to the difference between a salary cap sport and a non-salary cap sport. Because if this was a non-salary cap sport, it would matter a ton what she said. Because that's like what Chris Ilitch says. But, if Chris Ilitch all of a sudden said, I'm opening up the pocketbook, unlike in ways I never have before, that would matter. But in a salary cap sport, it doesn't really matter.
It always has to be the whitest thing imaginable that has to be said.
The word pocketbook?
He's opened up his – you think Ilitch has a pocketbook? Isn't that for, like, ladies? Like my grandma Panetta had a pocketbook.
I'm really hoping right now that that's like a really popular phrase in the black community.
Why? You want me to get attacked?
No, because I want to.
You think pocketbook is popular in the black community?
I do not. No, just wishing.
So. Oh, one of your wishes. Okay, Nathan. For someone as athletically gifted as Coen Carr, why does it feel like he's constantly getting beat by lesser athletes? Yeah, Graham. Why?
Well, I don't think he did. Against Indiana, I thought he was terrific in defensive assignments. I thought he was really good. Now, getting down the floor, Indiana made a real point to get down there, and what he doesn't have is this. And Miles Bridges had this problem too. Is he doesn't have the ability to put the ball on the floor and get by you. He doesn't have this great handles that do that. He's not a bad. It's not like he can't dribble or anything like that. But he's just not a creator with the ball in his hands. And so it relies on somebody else to get them the ball in certain spaces, largely. And but yeah, I didn't think he got beat. I thought he played pretty well defensively against Indiana.
Nathan, Cam Ward has to lead the NCAA in and ones per minute played, right? This is by no means a slanderous Coen Carr tweet.
He certainly has a lot of them. He misses a lot of those and ones because he's struggling shooting the free throw. And I talked to him in the locker room after the Northwestern game, and I asked him and Jordan Scott, and this did not make the column I wrote on those two guys that night, but I asked both of them, like a month from now, ideally, if you had one thing you were doing better or one thing we haven't seen yet, what would it look like? And Cam Ward talked about free throw shooting. He just said, right now it's hard to play me at the end of games. Like, he has a real awareness that that's an issue, and he knows that it's hard to put him in certain settings because – if you're going to be fouled or whatever, you got to be a better free throw shooter than he's been. And what was interesting is Jordan Scott's answer was not hit threes, which I thought it might be, but it was about understanding different defensive concepts at a higher level and all that stuff.
Somebody please guard somebody.
Howard Bailey next. When is it time to bench Coen Carr? He can't shoot a three. Offensively, he's a liability, and he's regressed compared to last year. Guys like Ward and Scott are promising, and I think they should have a shot to show what they can really do.
Well, they are getting that shot. I mean, they're playing a lot of minutes. They're playing, Scott played more than 20 minutes. He's and you probably will see if minutes decrease slightly and increase for Scott. And the difference between last year and this year is Coen Carr is they're just fewer perimeter scoring options. So it's more glaring what he can't do right now. But I didn't think yesterday was the day to look at him and say, let's, do something else. The other thing you want to be careful with Coen Carr is I think you still want Coen Carr on this team next year. I think he's an important player for the program. And if you bench Coen Carr, a guy who's finally starting fine playing minutes, he would not be there next year. And those are the dynamics you have to think about in college basketball, too, these days. So, even if, and I talked about this with Kurt Tang and who you start, you have to understand who starting matters to. They wound up losing Trey Holloman. But part of the reason the Trey Holloman decision was made to the bench over Jeremy Fears, for example, and there wasn't separation at that point between Holloman and Fears in terms of who was more productive at the time that decision was made. I think part of the decision is Jeremy Fears is not going to handle going to the bench well. He's not going to. The odds that he's part of the program a year from now, if he's coming off the bench and he's not the point guard, is different than Trey Holloman, who I think they thought would stick it out. Now it turned out it was Sophie's choice a little bit, but so I would not bench Coen Carr. I wouldn't come close to doing it, even if his minutes decrease slightly or even if his role changes a little bit. And the thing that's made it tricky also is, they had played against a small lineup last night, but Kohler and Cooper have been so good. There was a point where does Carr play the 4 more, but I don't think you're going to do that. I think if you have enough shooting out there, and I think if he's aggressive, he's fine. It's fine. But the consistent aggression, he can't disappear, and that's what's happened too much.
Moneybag next. Is Jeremy Fears starting to realize he's a better player when he's looking to score rather than looking to get fouled?
Well,
I feel like you can do both, right?
Yeah, I think
he's too good at drawing fouls to stop it.
I think the point here, and he's right in this sense, I think he's done a better job lately of, while he may be looking for the foul, there was a point where it seemed like he was looking for the foul no matter what, almost more than the shot, right? And now he's trying to draw the foul, but he's still trying to get the shot. I think there is a fine line there, and I think he's gotten better at it noticeably, since probably the beginning of December. So, yeah, and he took what was, I think in terms of a point guard game, taking what's there for you and what your team needs, was his best game in a lot of ways, because he was really good defensively in the first half when he needed to score for Michigan State, but also Indiana was saying we're going to try and take away other things. He just went at him and he scored, got 19 points. In the second half, he only has 2 buckets, but they're fast break buckets where he blows by people, and then he has 7 assists in the second half. He's getting other people involved. I just thought it was a really good understanding of what Michigan State needed to win.
Sparty guy next. Kurt Tang has put up 8 straight games of solid production. I can't imagine Devine sticks around next year with Medlock, Fears, Jervis, and Tang all in the mix. Agree?
Somebody will leave. I don't know if it'll be Devine and Gochukwu. I wouldn't be surprised if he was not. He's a guy who's already transferred once, right? So the idea that he's going to play the next 2 years after this at Michigan State with the guys they have coming in, it'll be interesting to see if anybody else leaves and instead and surprises them. It'll be interesting how the rest of his year goes. He's starting right now. I don't think that's going to stick all year, but my guess is Fears probably does one more year at MSU, and so if you've got Fears and you got Medlock coming in, another point guard they like, and you're right, it sort of depends what he sees as his role and what level. What I don't know about him, and I'm not knocking him because I honestly don't know this, but some guys I have a better sense of is how much he really wants to compete and fight. Trey Holloman left eventually because he wanted a senior year that looked different than the senior year he thought he was going to have at MSU. But I remember being surprised he stuck around after his freshman year when it felt like they were trying to replace him or being recruited over. And he was out to prove he belonged, and he wound up having a really good sophomore year and good junior year is a big part of things. I don't know that Devine Ugochukwu's mentality is that.
Sparty guy next. Are you getting any more sense that Carr is thinking about a 4th year? Too expensive to keep him? I feel like Izzo loves him, and he loves Izzo. He's been good, but hasn't taken the NBA leap yet.
Yeah, he's not an NBA player right now. He's a great athlete in certain ways, and if he can become a great defender, that would help him. If he can become somebody at the next level who's a really good defensive player and is above the rim athlete, but he's going to have to. Like, you do see guys on the Pistons who aren't great shooters, but there's, Asar Thompson is taller, does things defensively that Coen Carr is not going to be able to do. And so Carr is going to have to become a adequate shooter from range at some point. And, for him, you've got a year and a half a season and a half to do that. You've got a season and a half to become that at Michigan State and make a pretty decent penny doing it and being an important part of a beloved person in the program. Jay Nakins was back last night, or on Tuesday night, and he's playing for the Motor City Cruise and having a great year in the G League. And I think a lot of people have seen the numbers he's putting up and some of the performances he's had. And whether he's ever an NBA guy, we'll see. I think he'll get a look at some point and spend some time in the league, obviously. But look how the applause for him last night was much more than it'll be for Alan Haller in 10 years. Okay? And you could see, though, for a guy who went through it a little bit sometimes with the fan base, you could see how good it felt. The smile on Jay Nakins when that applause happened, because it was noticeable. And how much he enjoys being back. You see the value in being a 4-year guy who gave what he had to the program and had some really good moments. And if that's all Coen Carr ever has, and he makes a pretty penny doing it, and he's a guy who can come back and is loved, that's not a bad way to be. And if worse comes to worse, he's a dunking machine overseas. You know how much Coen Carr is going to make in Europe if he had to, because of the way he can finish, how much fun that would be, and how much, like, an owner in Europe, an owner of a team is going to look at Coen Carr and see cash, because people will want to come see him play. So his worst case scenario is a high-end European guy making a lot of money, spending his 20s living in cool cities in Europe. That's Coen Carr's worst case scenario. And so if I were him, I would maximize my time at Michigan.
Sounds like a good documentary. I'm in.
Yeah, you and I can go over and film it.
Going overseas.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Gunnar Larson, where would this team be with Trey Holloman returning?
I don't know. Different. I don't know. Do you think they'd be better with Trey Holloman?
I mean, is he going to shoot? Can he hit buckets?
See,
I mean, who is he replacing?
See,
Divine?
that's the thing. He's defacing. Yeah,
because I like Divine.
Right.
No offense, Trey. You made a move, so I'm happy with Divine. So I feel like we're good. But
he's better than Divine.
I understand that, but I mean, just the way if he would have stayed, I don't know.
They're better in this sense. He would give them a really good backup point guard.
The question is, would Trey change his mind? Like, if he could do things differently when
I
he
don't know.
stayed at MSU. I think if he would have just let Fears had the starting gig, and then been that guy either off the bench, right?
He'd want to be playing 30 minutes. No, he'd be starting he'd be starting and then doing the backup point guard too, and he'd be playing 30 minutes a game. So other guys have fewer minutes. And one of the things that's interesting, and this team was going to change to some degree because they lost Jay Nakins and Jace Richardson. But I'm a believer that college teams need to change year over year a little bit. Like, when you bring too many guys back, you don't run back the same hunger, the same dynamics. And I'm not saying it wouldn't have worked with Holloman. It very well might have. I just don't know that they'd be better than they are now. And if Jordan Scott's development or role would be a little less, or I think Kurt Tang's a better shooter than Trey Holloman in terms of his just natural stroke a little bit. Now, we haven't always seen it. And Trey Holloman his best year was like a 42% three-point shooter, I think, or something like that. So, yeah, they'd probably be better a little bit, but they'd be different.
Keith Stopra next. I watch on YouTube, but never sent a question before now. What does this MSU rotation look like with Caleb Glenn in it? Also, Izzo's rotations are so annoying. Give Jesse McCulloch some minutes. We need him.
Well, last night had a lot more to do with it.
Don't coach my team.
Indiana was playing like 4 guards or wings around one big guy. Like that, it's a bad matchup for Michigan State because they're going to play guys who can defend that, and that's not really his role. And then it even lessened the amount of time you're going to play. It required Cooper to guard perimeter guys. Same with Kohler at times. It was a weird game. That's not a. I agree, and they need him to continue to develop. I'm talking about McCulloch here because next year, unless there's some extra year, unless Kohler or Cooper are back or something happens, he's going to be a huge part of things. And so they need him to keep developing. To the Caleb Glenn, it's a real good question. He was the best of the transfers they brought in. He was sort of the prize guy. He was the guy they thought was going to be the biggest impact guy. It would impact other minutes. It would have impacted Jordan Scott to some degree. But I think he might have been a real. This team has a chance to beat anybody on a given day. I think their ceiling is higher than last year. But when you talk about being likely to beat anybody on a given day, if their ceiling could have raised a little bit, I think he might have been a big piece toward that. It would have been interesting to see how they would have played guys and who would have been where, and because he's not a 2-guard, like he's more in the Coen Carr role, and so then are they just playing? I think what is Scott's role in this? And I think Scott would have found his way onto the court, because the thing about Jordan Scott, it's not like anybody was going to take his minutes. He was going to find time. Look what he does when he's on the court. Look at his plus-minus every single night. He was going to find time, so it would have been interesting to see.
Kara Lee, what's your favorite audio drop from the soundboard? There are so many good ones, but cockburn kills me every time.
Cockburn.
I mean, that'd be like picking my favorite child.
But you don't have any of those.
No.
Let's go green. Go God.
I mean, that's a number 1 seed.
Is it? Okay.
Free Ubers.
I mean, that's OJ. It's just
Free Ubers.
the way he says Ubers. I mean, rest in peace.
Beekman broke my chair.
The taint.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
I mean, Zion was a big deal because he was a huge guy, and I just broke my chair.
I do hear your voice in my head when I take a shit.
I mean, what are we talking about? I don't know.
Go out there, play hard, stick your cleats so far up their asses that they've got to use the cleats to brush their teeth with.
Come here, Minnesota.
I mean, this one. It's not really a quick one, but I mean, Tony D.
What did we tell you? What did we tell you?
So when I see Ben Johnson doing a post-game speech, I picture Tony D. Tony D and Ben Johnson are the same person.
That's offensive to Ben Johnson, I think. Josh Minsley, after watching the Indiana game, can we stop the narrative that MSU starts games slow and change it to they intentionally wearing down their opponents?
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know that they've started a lot of games slow this year. I mean, think what they did against Kentucky out of the gate. They've had some games where they're pretty quick out of the gate. I don't know that that's really the DNA of this team, like slow starts. I do think they wear down opponents. I do think what happened against Indiana, that 19-20 to nothing run or whatever it was, had a lot to do with Indiana. I mean, if you're a team like Indiana that can shoot the heck out of the ball, and they are scary in a one-game scenario, that's a team that, on the wrong night in the Big Ten tournament, like they could win the Big Ten tournament because some teams aren't fully invested in, they just go nutso from three. But the problem is that when you actually do get into their top shooters and make life difficult for them, eventually that's going to wear down. That eventually they're going to hit a cold stretch where they're not getting, and the grit, they just didn't seem to have it. They don't have great size. And that's one of the things Michigan State has. There's a relentlessness to the aggressiveness on the glass, and most nights the defense. The first time we hadn't seen it in a while was the Northwestern game. But for the most part, there's Michigan State looks like a hungry team all the time, even when they're not playing great, and they've just got enough depth and size and sweat equity and physicality to be a problem for a lot of teams.
Josh Minsley next. What MSU does at the start of games is like calling run plays that gain 0 yards early, knowing that is setting up a tired defense and long run in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, this is Izzo's argument with his substitutions that people sometimes don't like when he has so many guys play, is the idea is when they're running, when they're fresh late in games. And you can argue over a 30-year track record, right? It's played out more often for him, even though the rotation stuff can drive you nuts. I actually thought, I think the rotations this year, why they've occasionally been clunky in terms of minutes on the floor, I think he's gotten it right this year. The minutes Kohler and Fears are playing are the type of minutes they need to be playing and are playing. It doesn't feel like somebody's on the floor when, whether Denim Wojcik should play the minutes he has at certain times at the backup point guard is a fair discussion. And there are things like that. But in terms of their core guys, and I think, a couple times you start to think, man, maybe they could use Jordan Scott here, but they usually go to him. He plays a lot of minutes in important games and important settings.
Izzo's no longer got to go, and Scott, you next. MSU got another call yesterday when Indiana false started on this Spartan free throw. When does your article on this fascinating subject come out? And from Mike Stiddy. Do the players intentionally miss free throws after they see the other team commit a lane violation because they think it's funny? 75% free throw shooters are shooting sub 50% on such attempts this year. And from the mayor of Fitztown. Where are the official stats on lane violations? This team has to be an all-time leader.
A lot of people curious about the lane violations. And the last game, it showed up again. Some of it, Fears has a little bit of a hitch in his shot, but he's had that hitch before. And Izzo was asked about this. I think it was Matt Wenzel from M Live asked about it after the game. And Izzo really didn't know because it's not like the shot, Fears' shot has changed all that much. It happened on a Kohler free throw as well. I probably should ask Jeff about this as well. No, it is interesting, and it's something I'm going to ask these guys about more and more because they have to be noticing it, and it's unlike anything I've ever seen. I've never seen this many lane violations. It's constant. You're almost surprised sometimes when it doesn't happen. I mean, I don't get it, and maybe it's because of the way Michigan State rebounds and guys trying to make sure they keep guys off the glass, so opponents are more like keyed up to get into the lane, and that's what's happening. It's a good question, and it's one that that should be asked.
Mayor of Fittstown next. Do you think Fears has NBA potential? If he develops a three-point shot above 35%, then next year might be his last.
I do not think Jeremy Fears plays 5 years at MSU. I don't. For whatever reason, I think you reach a certain point, and maybe the money will be so good and whatever, but you think about they're bringing in Carlos Medlock next year as a freshman. The ideal situation for Michigan State is that Fears plays his true senior year with Medlock as a freshman, and then there's a handing over. And 5 years is a long time to spend in one place, and how much more can you develop after that? I think they would love to have him for one more year. Whether he'll, and at that point he'll probably take his chance professionally, and there's a chance that, who knows, it happens before then, depending on how much they win or what goes down. But I think the ideal situation, MSU would love to have him for another year.
I fear Fears next. Will Denham Wojcik be in the rotation by March? I hope to see Tang slot in that starting 2 spot and Devine to take all of the backup point guard minutes.
I think you'll see Wojcik in moments throughout the season. Like the end of the first half stuff, I thought
longer
worked
the
okay.
moments.
Yeah, well, they're shorter and shorter, and you can see it. And when he struggles out there, it's I was looking at his minutes the other day. He's got a lot of these, like almost just about a minute on the court deals, and it's enough for Fears to sit down, or they try to get him a break going into a media timeout. They try to get him an extra 40 seconds for Fears before that or whatever. So I think he's going to be in it to some degree. I think the length of time he's out there is shrinking, and you can already see it.
Richard Kane, do the MSU players find it helpful when the zone counts down the shot clock?
It's a good question. I've never asked about that, and I wrote this down along with the lane violations as something to sort of ask. What I wonder too is, every once in a while, you see the zone get the opponent when they're counting down the clock incorrectly to try to get them to take a shot early.
Yeah.
And I wonder what that mentality is too.
How could it not help though if you're a Michigan State player to know?
Yeah, you've got,
because they're not going to lie to you. Your home crowd.
Wouldn't that be the worst? The zone was just lying. You couldn't even trust them.
Well, it is a bunch of white people, right, Graham? Am I right?
No comment.
Neurotic Pants. Do NCAA D1 refs study film to prepare for games?
No, they fly to the next venue and then
they don't crush tape.
These guys are doing like 6 games a week in different venues, and I mean, some of these guys have full-time jobs as like police officers in Fort Lauderdale during the day and are somehow in East Lansing at 7 p.m.
Why?
And claim to be work. I don't know.
They don't get paid good enough to like.
Well, I mean, a lot of them. I mean, it's unbelievable. Some of the full-time jobs, principals, and all these guys who are. Like guys are like high school principals during the day. Like, how are you doing that job well, and then also being a ref? And then you're doing 6 games a week. It's insane. These guys do. They may in the off season look at tendencies or look at things or whatever, but game to game they are not.
Neurotic Pants. What is it exactly that MSU does? Well, let me try this again. What is it exactly that MSU does that results in those massive runs out of nowhere? I take 2 minutes to tie my shoes, and MSU has snapped the spines off Northwestern and Indiana after struggle busing most of the game. Break it down for me.
It is.
Why does it take 2 minutes to tie your shoes? You need to break that down for me. What's going on, Neurotic Pants?
Yeah, no, it is. Teams wear down. Teams don't have as much as them, and at home you get that momentum too, and it's tough. You look at Northwestern; they just miss shots, and they don't have quite as much talent. In Indiana, the same way. You wear people down. And that is, I think that's all that is. Let's take one more break. We'll come back, finish these Groovy Donut Twitter questions. A reminder before we do here: Groovy Donuts with some outstanding stuff. If you are planning a football weekend, do so with Groovy Donuts. They've got football donuts. You want tailgate donuts? They've also got strawberry shortcake donuts this week, Thursday through Sunday, 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. The sticky bun apple fritter. All this month available. 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. Thursday through Sunday, Lake Lansing Road in East Lansing, and also in Williamston. Couch in the Rube, presented by Front 43 Neighborhood Pub and Cask and Company Kitchen and Bar.
You cheered on your team. Enjoy a mouth-watering burger or savory sushi. Sip on handcrafted cocktails or one of 46 beers on tap. Take your game day or date night to Cask and Company Kitchen Bar or Front 43 Neighborhood Pub near Frandor. 2 amazing places with 1 awesome blended modern American Asian menu. Catch the game on one of 30 60-inch TVs or stop in for the all-you-can-eat lunch buffet. Enjoy happy hour or elevate your night out at Cask and Company or Front 43 on East Saginaw in Lansing. Ever wonder how comfortable you can be and how good you can look? Put on a Muskox flannel and find out. Muskox has new arrivals for this fall, including the Caper Green Grand Flannel, which even makes couch look good. Muskox is a Detroit-based flannel company that creates soft and durable flannels made to last a lifetime. They become a great partner with Couch in the Rube, not just because they make us look good and feel good, but because they're good people too, and a socially conscious company. For every $100 purchase, $10 is donated to the Alaska Wildlife Conservation. Muskox flannels are designed with 100% cotton that is ethically sourced and double brushed for softness. Feel the quality and comfort of a Muskox flannel by ordering at GoMuskox.com, where Couch in the Rube listeners can enjoy $15 off their flannel purchase with the promo code HOFF. Come enjoy irresistible, award-winning, handcrafted donuts and locally roasted coffee at Groovy Donuts. Surprise your family or coworkers with special holiday designs and flavors, or put the perfect finishing touch on an event with a custom order. Birthdays, weddings, gender reveals, our friends at Groovy Donuts are your answer. Experience the Groovy Donuts difference for yourself on Lake Lansing Road in East Lansing or in Williamston. Get more information or place an order at groovydonuts.com.
Couch in the Rube, our Wednesday night show presented by our friends at Firekeepers and the Firekeepers Casino and Sportsbook app and Front 43 Neighborhood Pub and Cask and Company Kitchen and Bar. Answering your Twitter questions presented by our friends at Groovy Donuts. Make Groovy Donuts part of your football, your golf, whatever this weekend is. It'll be a whole lot better with Groovy Donuts. And if you're going to somebody else's house, by the way, bring Groovy Donuts. Like, especially if your personality sucks. Groovy Donuts just it makes a difference. People will want you
Why
there.
do you look at me when you say that? Could have used Groovy Donuts back in the day, to be honest with you.
In high school when you're trying to get to a party or in
high
college.
school. I'm talking about like my late 20s.
Would've been
showing up to places, apologizing.
By the way, you handled, like, Therese has just shown up here at the studio.
Right.
You handled that well. Like, if Elizabeth walked in right now, the whole show would fall to shit.
Well, I had to let her into the door because she was she went to do other errands while she thought this was not a Twitter question show, regular Wednesday show.
I see. Yeah.
So we didn't communicate well. So now she's in the house.
Yeah. Well, it's
I'm not scared of my wife like you are.
It's
so it's
fair,
it's a little different.
It's a healthier place you guys are. Yeah.
Alan Pearlstein, do you think that the chorus of pearl-clutching sports journalists that made Lynn Jones-Turpin's press conference remarks into a big story know that most of their readers don't share their righteous outrage?
So this is the Jacksonville journalist who basically lauded and told the Jacksonville Jaguars head coach to keep his head up, keep his chin up.
And then she was like, Duval. I mean, dude, I still cannot believe the response from some people. Do you think that you're in the pearl clutching?
No, I'm not.
Who he's talking about?
I was much more. Look, what she did was not the thing you ought to do.
Right.
You're supposed to be a working journalist. I don't think she was that. I heard an interview with her where she was like, I wasn't even going to go to the press conference. What do you mean you weren't going to go to the press? You're just going to go home? You're using it for a free ticket? Like, I know a lot of people who aren't actually working. They're just there to be there. And like, I have a feeling she was actually much more in that camp. That doesn't outrage me. I'm not actually outraged by anything. There's lots of stuff in this world right now to be outraged about, to be legitimately outraged about.
Well,
and she is not one of them. But what pissed me off was Adam Schefter. Adam Schefter should know better. She's part of the community. She wants to do this. This is her work. Like, that's fine. Mm-hmm. Everybody's got their people who do things a different way. Michigan State had Hondo around here, and Hondo just didn't know any better, right? It's just Hondo, right? But
Schefter aside, and we've talked about it this week, I'm just saying, though, we're not like anti positivity. I think
right.
People putting you in the category that you're anti-positivity or you need your press conferences run a certain way. No, not at all. It just sounded terrible.
Just weird. It's just not a professional thing to do.
I don't know why it can't. It just can be two separate things.
Do we not understand?
Who's pearl clutching?
Do we not understand that's unprofessional? Keep your chin up. Like that's not. Yeah.
Right.
What are we doing here?
Come on, man.
I want to read and she may have written something different, but we should go find what she actually wrote off the game. I question whether she was actually going to write off the game, period.
Do you need to read it or
no?
Pretty much know what it is.
We don't.
Mike Stiddy, who is Graham betting for the Australian Open?
Well, as I mentioned before, it's Medvedev on the guy's side. You can get close to still 30-1 at the Firekeeper's Eye Casino and Sportsbook app. And then Mira Andreeva on the women's side at 14-1 are probably my two value bets. Now, again, you're looking for value, especially on the men's side, because they've got two guys who are meeting in the final of pretty much every major at this point. So who can beat them on their best day? Who has a chance to fill that spot if one of them gets upset? And I believe Medvedev, when he's right, is that guy, and I think he's right again.
Frank Van Janser, however you say his name, of the next MSU basketball games, who is more of a matchup problem, Oregon or Washington?
Washington's got a better roster and a better team this year, and if you look at Ken Palm, I think Michigan State's favored to win by 5 at Washington and 9 at Oregon. That tells you about where the level is. Washington's 49 and Ken Palm, Oregon's 89. I don't know what's happened to Oregon this year, but when you look at Washington, and they're okay. I mean, Washington just beat Ohio State. They beat USC by 8. That was on the road. They've had some okay games. They also had a bad loss to Seattle, although Seattle for a mid-major is, got a pretty good RPI and Ken Palm. They're not a bad team, but that's a game you shouldn't lose, although it was on the road, even if it's in the same city. They lost Indiana by 10 on the road. They lost Purdue by just 8 on the road. Like they're legitimately okay, and they're different. Some of the guys they have on that team are Wesley Yates and Hans Steinbach and Zoom Diallo, like the guys that have been on different teams and pretty effective. So I think it's Washington on Saturday night. I don't know what's gone wrong this year with Oregon. I'm kind of curious about them because I actually like their roster, but I think and I know they played Michigan State tough and nearly beat them last year, but I think it's Washington.
Professor, are we overlooking how tough MSU's schedule and travel will be from here on out?
Well, it's a maturity. I talked about this on Monday. This is a maturity check, right? It's to get to 9-1 going into that Michigan game. They got to win these two games because they're going to beat Maryland at home. They are. I mean, they're 19-point favorite in Ken Palm. They're going to beat Rutgers on the road, 13-point favorite there. And so if you win these two games, you're going to be 9-1 at the midpoint. It does get tougher after that. I mean, it's not so much the travel as much as at the end of the year, it's nasty. At the end of the year, you're playing, and first of all, from February 7th on, it goes Illinois at home, Wisconsin, who we saw what they're capable of on the road, UCLA at home, UCLA, I don't know, Ohio State at home, but then it ends with Purdue on the road, Indiana on the road, Rutgers at home, Michigan on the road. That 3 of 4 to end, if you're gonna win the Big Ten, you're probably gonna need to be able to afford to lose a couple games or two, or at least one, and down the stretch. But I don't think their travel is any worse than it is any other year.
Professor, what do you want the Tigers to do about the Skubal situation?
What do you want them to do?
Trade him. Because obviously Scott Harris is not going to bring guys in to win this year, or else I would say keep him this year. I mean, you don't want to let him walk for nothing. And maybe not be a cheapskate MFer, and with this whole arbitration thing, and I don't know.
You wouldn't try to win as much as you can with him this final year?
Why? Your general manager's not doing anything to put you in a position or going after any offense. I mean, look at the statements that he's made. He's obviously not in the mix to do it. We have Skubal for one more year. Maybe make him a valid offer. Could we just make him an offer and then let them turn it down?
I think fans are going to have to get to the point. And look, you give the Tigers, because they've been to 2 straight postseasons, you give them a little bit of the – I'm not saying you have to make this grand –
in last year. I'm not giving them credit for last year. They screwed us.
Well, then you can do what I'm doing. I won't go to – I'm not spending a dime on these guys this year other than paying for Bally's. So I'll pay that, right? But I'm not –
it's FanDuel now.
Whatever it is.
They're going under.
Whatever it is. Tigers.com. Whoever I'm paying to.
Big Ten plus Detroit.
There you go. But I'm not going to a game. I'm not supporting this. And I think people have to stop being happy, clappy Tigers fans. You know, we've all been to the church.
Did you hear that? That's Couch closing his wallet.
We've all been to the church with the juice bar in the back. You know, everybody gets excited. You follow the dot on the wall and you sing praise music and you think the world's fixed. That ain't this, right? You can't get down there and you can't watch an 11-run game.
The hell?
That you can't be that fan.
The magic underwear involved?
Only way that this gets fixed is if they realize you stop going to games. And so at this point, if you're going to Tigers games, you're going to start being part of the problem pretty quick here.
Frank, does Pat Fitzgerald give off Dan Campbell vibes? I would run through a brick wall for Fitz. He's pretty good at it.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
He gave a pretty.
He's a football guy.
Both he and Max Bullock gave pretty amazing speeches. That in terms
it's quite
of
the difference from old.
It is.
Oh shucks.
Part of it's the
Johnny
contrast.
Boy Smith.
Part of it's the contrast. And Fitzgerald was really good. I thought Bullock's was even better. At least the part they showed. But yeah, those guys are that. Look, these are football coaches know how to fire people up, and you can. That's just one of the parts.
Bullock's going to be a head coach, right?
100%. And this is part of
going to be at Michigan State. Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean. Who knows? Dude. Who knows?
The smartest guy Vrabel's ever met. You know, that's what Mike Vrabel said about him.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying.
No, it's not a you know, what they do well though, and I think we realized in the whole Jonathan Smith era is that sort of ability to rally people and communicate with them and make them fired up. That freaking matters because things aren't always going to go well, but when you can speak to people where they are, that, you know, it's everything. It's everything. Well, not everything, but it's a really important part of things.
It's everything. DMB Signetti is an elite coach, says Couch, but greatest coaching job ever. He's buying top talent at will without any regulation, and average age of starters is 23 to 24.
Yeah, he's had quite a few guys who are multi-year guys there. And I'm not saying there aren't advantages to what he's doing. I'm not saying he could have done it previously at Indiana like this. I think he would have wanted Indiana because I just think he is a great coach. But there is a point, like if you're going to
taken longer.
If you're going to turn Indiana around, this is the era to do it. There's no question, or to do it like this. There's no question. Yeah.
DMB, what are your thoughts on the new redshirt rules? It's like the people running college football are trying to kill it off.
College football coaches are such douchebags. Like, I'm sorry. Like, and I don't think this is actually going to happen. Their proposal is you get 9 games instead of 4, and you can still redshirt because they just don't want guys to quit on their team. But they don't want to fully go in on 5 years of eligibility because that causes other problems. And so it's all about what it's easiest for them in the moment. To me, either go to 5, and I have my qualms about that. But if you're going to do it. There's some arguments for it where you just get 5 years to play 5 years, and there are no red shirts anymore. But I don't think you need. I think other sports need to go more like football, or in basketball you should be able to play 10 games, and not the postseason, but 10 games and without an injury and still redshirt. You know, I think that would be fine. I like the 4 games in football. Wouldn't mind it being 5 games, but 9 games is just, yeah. There's nobody. You know, the people in football just. I don't know. There's not a lot of forward thinking. Everybody's worried about themselves right now, and that's the one. That's you know, Izzo talks about coaches, not enough of them being in the room, and coaches do have some good ideas, but a lot of them are just trying to keep their jobs. A lot of them aren't in Tom Izzo's shoes or a place where they feel really comfortable speaking toward the greater good and really thinking out of the box. And boy, but what they're proposing now is just stupid.
It's the American way, except America has gotten soft.
Beppe Plum next. Should we be more excited for the MSU football portal class or the MSU coaching hires? Spin away, Graham, and from G. Quang. Do any of MSU's football incoming transfers excite you?
Well, I think ultimately what happens in an individual portal class is less important than who you hired overall. And I think the fact that Fitzgerald seems to be a hire that has a chance, whether it works out or not, he's certainly a guy I think people have a chance, and there are some people who aren't excited about it, but there are, I think, more who are. I think the fact that they went out and got Max Bullock, which was like the dream of a lot of people, shows like just a sensible, here's a guy who has lineage to Michigan State, who's clearly got potentially great coaching in his future, who's done enough at Notre Dame to warrant a step up. The guy that seemed to do the best last year, Joe Rossi, stays. Courtney Hawkins they keep. They go get the special teams coach at Iowa and pay him a pretty penny to do so, and the punter comes with him. Like, there's a lot of stuff that makes sense. So I think that, to me, would be, in terms of the players, you can look at different guys and think, oh, that guy's kind of interesting. The guys that are most interesting to me are the guys who have multiple years left, and some of the guys stepping up in level who have years to give. But I think, some of the guys they've kept, and they've lost a lot, but the Luka Vincic, for example, he was a guy, their offensive line really fell apart once he got hurt. And I'm not saying he was everything last year, but he was a young guy they really, really wanted, and they were able to keep him. So the guys who got time to be in the program, I think, are the guys that I think people should be most excited about.
Rug and Tub next. What are your thoughts on the Fitzgerald team meeting video? Is it really not a true rebuild, and we would be a 2024 Indiana? Got me so hyped to the point I wanted to get off the couch and tackle my grandma as she was walking back with her dinner soup.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. And if you do ever tackle your grandma,
soup's not a meal though.
Soup's really good. I love soup. I love soup. But if you ever do tackle your grandma or do something wrong, the best way to apologize is with Groovy Donuts, by the way. Go to groovydonuts.com, place your order today. 2 locations, of course, 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. Thursday through Sunday. Great for a football weekend, great for an apology, great just to sit by yourself with a box of donuts. And my wife and I, what we do is we get like 6, and I've usually had 2 on the way home, but extra, and that's again, separate bag. You got to throw them away, make sure the Ring doorbell doesn't catch it. But then we cut them up and split them. It's fantastic. 6 donuts that way. They've got some great stuff this month. groovydonuts.com. But on the video we just talked about it. But is it a true rebuild, or can they be a 2024 Indiana? That came with like 11 guys, or 11 starters even, from James Madison. And I'm not saying there aren't some really good starters making the step up, but they also lost a ton on this Michigan State team. It's just it's impossible to predict or really be able to see that based on the roster movement that's happened. It's not that it can't happen. It's just impossible to see.
Daniel R. Patterson next. Is the USA still a safe place to host the World Cup this year? Should the World Cup move all matches to Canada and Mexico to protect players and fans from abuse by Trump's ICE?
Well, luckily the corrupt head of FIFA is also in Trump's pocket. So
FIFA's corrupt, huh?
Yeah, so I think ICE will be miraculously gone from these cities during the World Cup. The biggest problem with the U.S. World Cup, which I'm going to, by the way, pretty excited about, is that the U.S. actually doesn't have any stadiums in their cities. Like, it's not like Europe, and a lot of people are coming to this country are used to public transportation. You got the games in Foxborough, which are like 45 minutes from Boston. You got games in Santa Clara, which are like an hour from San Francisco. Like, nobody plays in their actual city. The games in New York are like on the other side in New Jersey. Like, it sucks. I mean, this whole country sucks at putting stadiums in cool center of the. I mean, Detroit does it well, but they don't have the World Cup. That's the one thing we suck at. So you're gonna have all these foreigners trying to figure out how to get an hour away on buses and rental cars, horrible drive. We shouldn't be allowed to host things. That, and our country's too hot in the summer anyway. We made Qatar play in the winter. You ever been to Kansas City or Texas in the summer? They can't have the World Cup here. But otherwise, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna have fun.
Tim, what do you guys think of protests? I don't get how people have free time to do something that has zero impact. It literally seems like the equivalent of a Michigan fan standing outside of Spartans Stadium trying to convince MSU fans to become Michigan fans. You're not changing anyone's mind.
You may not be changing somebody's mind in a silo entirely, or somebody who's hardcore, but protest does matter. And an overwhelming public sentiment about something, when people really get out.
Is there too many protests? I'm not saying you shouldn't protest anything, but some of these protests where you're watching people on the side of the road holding a sign, you're like, well, what do you?
So you're right. I agree with you. A lot of them don't do anything. You're right, but certain things do, and you know, and people do listen, and people do. They're not everybody's hardcore on one side of everything. You know, I mean, you look at a guy like Joe Rogan, who was influential in the previous election, and here's a guy who, you know, you listen to the clips from his podcast lately, and certainly his take on things is different than it was before the election, right? And he has an influence on a lot of people who are easily influenced. And no, I don't think protest is a waste. I think protest is one of the few rights we have, and that can have impact. And when you get tons and tons of people, and there's some data on this in terms of like amount of the population that when they protest is over 3.5% or something like that, it really changes things and changes elections and all that. I don't think it's not I don't think it's ineffective.
Shep next. Graham, given that your wife's name is Elizabeth, don't call her Liz, have you ever gone to a Halloween party as Macho Man Randy Savage and Miss Elizabeth? If not, what are you waiting for?
Yeah, we have not. I'm just not a wrestling guy like that. I would love to.
Did you do a Macho Man?
Ooh,
yeah. Macho Man, Miss Elizabeth. You could do it.
So you could do it.
Ooh, yeah. I could do
That's one of your best impressions.
No, it's not.
You got another one coming up. Somebody's going to ask for
No,
here in a little bit.
I'm not doing any more impressions. No. Is an AP voter? Shep, why are you still on Twitter? I feel like every week or so I hear something even more awful about that place. And then next week, hear something even more. Now you can use Elon's AI to make child pornography. Awesome. Keep supporting it, I guess.
Yeah, it sucks. And, there are times where I feel like
I have a good time on Twitter. I mean,
well, that's the thing.
I make it my own and just ignore a lot of shit. So, I mean,
it's what you got to do. You really got to find your own community. And we've done that with Couch in the Room, and I try to do that with MSU stuff. And it's still, you meet people where they are. There are frustrating things on Twitter. I've thought about.
I had a Blue Sky account too. I tried Blue Sky, just never took off.
I'm still there, but you're right. There aren't enough voices there, and so I do both. But I do Twitter more, and yeah, it's.
I mean, it is a cesspool, but I don't know. It entertains me. There's some really funny people on there, and I feel like if you keep out a lot of the negativity, you can have a good time on it. I don't know.
It's the algorithms and the way if you pay for it, which is it's their right to do, that it elevates certain voices, which are, I mean, some of the biggest nutbags out there. And so, yeah, there are frustrations with it. I need to spend less time on it. But I still enjoy, like, our community. I enjoy the Michigan State community. I enjoy the show community.
Yeah.
And so that's where people are. And if there was something better out there, I keep hoping for it. I hoped Blue Sky would be it. It isn't. Now, Blue Sky has a lot of people I enjoy on there, so I do. I get on Blue Sky every day for a little bit. But there just hasn't been. Threads had a moment where I thought they'd have a chance, and they fucked it up. I mean, it's a hard thing to create a big audience. But yeah, no, I have my misgivings about Twitter, and sometimes think I should just leave.
G. Quang, why should companies get paid a premium to bundle things I don't want?
That's the American way.
By the way, you're entertaining on Twitter. I don't want you going anywhere. I mean, come on, man. Can you tell Schefter that you're going to be his boss? Like, just tell people that, I could not believe how fired up people got at you.
I enjoy Twitter.
You'll never be his boss. He's got 1 million followers. You have 30,000 or something. I'm like,
I still enjoy certain fights on Twitter,
who's
and that's part of it.
Schefter? I'd never imagined people would defend Schefter, even against you.
Yeah. No,
maybe that says something about you, but.
People, yeah, nobody's. I mean,
I'll defend you over Schefter. He's a penis. I mean,
Thank you. I appreciate that. Why do companies get paid a premium to bundle things? Are you talking about like LSJ subscriptions, cable? Premium?
Yeah, LSJ subscriptions. That's what we're talking.
We need to bundle.
What are you guys bundling?
We need to bundle. We don't bundle.
Jesus Christ! Yeah, why wait? 2027? When are you guys going to get that together?
So I hear 2032. Something's in the works.
Oh my God. John Johnson, what's the most you've either won, and what's the most you've ever lost on a bet? And what's the most you've ever seen someone win or lose?
Well, Michigan fan Jordan for you has got to be the win or lose one, right?
Yeah. Did I tell that story? I don't know what he wants me to tell. But during our wedding, he was betting heavy on NHL playoff games, and we were at the bar at the hotel we were staying at, and Treese was really mad at me because I was up there watching it sweat because I was tailing his bets, obviously not betting anywhere close to that. But he had a run in blackjack where he won over $250,000. Like, I don't know what he wants. Have I told this? Because I don't know if he wants this on the air.
I think you have told it, but you've told me.
Either way,
here's the problem. You told me. I don't know if you said it on air, so I don't know.
Well, either way, he won't mind. He won't mind. Whatever. But he has balls of steel and is really good at daily fantasy too. He just won like a $50K.
Jeez.
Yeah, he's good, dude. He has balls of steel, and I've witnessed him at my bachelor party in Vegas when we went there for March Madness. He flipped like 300 on the blackjack tables. He was in a private. I was in there in the Golden Nugget watching games, and he's like, "All right, I'm gonna go play blackjack." And he had like $300. And then when I came back around, he had a giant stack of black chips. He had over $15,000. I went up to the room and went to bed, and he ended up losing it overnight, but.
Well, that's the problem.
He cashed it out. He sent me a picture of the bricks of cash, and then like I woke up at like 8 a.m, and he was like, "Yeah." He's like, threw it all back.
What's the most you've lost? I mean, other than when you ran a failed sports book, by the way.
Yeah, that was bad. On a bet, see, I don't have a big bankroll, so it's never been over 200 or something like that. The biggest win was the Tiger Woods 2019, the Masters. That was like when we had to go overseas. We were bet on 5 dimes. I had to get like 1,100 from them.
Man, back in the day when you were waiting on a mule from Venezuela.
Dude, that was but when Tiger won, that was a freaking electric, and I'm glad I ended up placing a bet on Tiger to win it all that year. But yeah, that's pretty much it. But I don't have a big enough bankroll to go that heavy. Like when, especially now, like Teresa and I, if we go to a casino, we go to Firekeepers. If I hit for 1,000, like I'm out. I'm leaving. We've done that before at other casinos where we've gone in and we hit for 1,200 or something like that. I'm like, you want to get out of here? Like I like casinos for the people watching aspect, to be honest, more than I do like laying bets. I love the casino atmosphere, especially if they let you smoke in there still. Oh, man.
It's been a lot of years since I had a really bad loss. I've told the 2009 Graham-type stories, which I actually think is 2010 or 11. It's the Miami, Ohio, Northern Illinois MAC championship game that I had $2,000 on Northern Illinois, and they lost to Miami, Ohio, and I did go to a Christmas party that night and, like, pretend to be okay. And it was because I was doing this thing where I just bet heavy money lines, like you bet, 2,000 to win 200, and over time, to be honest with you, I actually made money doing that. But when you lose 2,000 in one swoop at one moment, it's like, okay, that strategy's done. Yep. And then it was when Derrick Rose didn't get his hand up on Mario Chalmers in the Memphis Kansas NCAA tournament game. I lost $1,000 in like 2008 or 9.
Vince Young, the USC Vince Young national championship. I think I lost 300 on that. That was devastating.
I can't do that
anymore.
bookie
back then.
Yeah, I can't do that stuff anymore. When you get married, you no longer can just throw.
We just lose it in small increments that ends up piling up to us.
And here's my advice for gamblers too, though: the thrill is just as much. No, the thrill is just as much, and this is something to keep in mind. Like if you're trying to make money gambling, you're not going to do it. And you and I have been in our lives where we tried to make money gambling at points in our lives, and it's not going to work. And so what you have to do is you can make a little change. You can have a day where things go well and you can cash out 1,000 or you can cash out a few hundred, and that's fun. Or you can build up a bankroll over time. And if you do that, you can have a lot of fun with it responsibly. And if you play low enough, so say you get yourself in a little bit of trouble starting to gamble and you're betting $50 to $100 a game or whatever, and all of a sudden you realize this is a problem. I'm telling you right now, if you have the discipline to change that, cut that in half, do $20 bets or $40 bets. Just cut it way down. You will get the same excitement out of winning a $20 bet eventually. It might take a minute. But
it depends on what your betting size is, though. It has to mean something to you. If like I see a lot of guys that then they show me their bet slips and there's $2, $5 bets, and I go ahead. I appreciate you have your own bet sizing. For me personally, and I'm not saying I have a giant bankroll, but I'd rather not bet than bet that way.
Yeah. Mine need to be to be $20, $25 bets at least for me to enjoy it.
Right.
Yeah, I need to be at least at that level, and so that's what I do. I try and keep it in the $20 to $50.
Not saying
range.
that bet size is right for whoever, but it just goes into each individual. But you're right, though. There are like I gave the 2-leg golf parlays, 2 players. Like the ones when you start adding the 3, the 4, the 5-leg, that's when the sports books want you to get in there, and that's not fun.
Yeah,
you're going to hit one of those maybe a year, but is that going to make up for all of your losses? But some dude besides farts, what else is in fart soup?
Split pea. I don't know what is.
But we know the soup is not a meal, though.
I disagree.
Farts are not. Farts,
even with
soup,
farts, it's not. Yeah.
Bean soup.
What I love about Fart Soup, who I know a little bit, lives out in Seattle, by the way.
Yeah.
Is
I've met him.
Yeah, great dude.
Yeah. And we were like 35 minutes late when he came in here. Him and his wife.
Oh,
this is Fart Soup.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. That she hates being referred to as Mrs. Fart Soup, which I can understand. Who would like being Mrs. Fart Soup?
Who would want to be Mrs. Rube?
You're so lucky, Teresa.
She is, though. Some dude, where does Dominic work again? I forgot.
Yeah, I'm not doxing. Not going to do it. Sorry,
Some
Dominic.
Dude. Is it the NCAA's fault that every case they have loses? Not legal is not legal, right?
Well, yeah, I think they could fight certain ones they just haven't. But yeah, right. The problem is what they were doing for a long time had a lot of things that have issues legally, and you can't limit. The problem when you created a system where college sports are the minor leagues, or you don't have another avenue to like the NFL and NBA is much like that. That's a problem because you can't limit what somebody can make as a living or their path to get there. Really, that you have all sorts of. There are a lot of things that were illegal probably about what the NCAA was doing for a long time, unless laws are passed that allow for them, and they have not been yet.
Some dude, Jason, have you ever heard the Spanish broadcast of Max Bulla making a big play in a game? It's great. Would be funny for the show. Or maybe they're saying enthusiastically what happened at the Rose Bowl in 2014, and we don't understand it.
I gotta find that clip. I've not heard that.
Yeah, send it to me.
Yeah.
We'll play it. Matty B, if these kids are just going to bounce from school to school with bags of money, at what point do we make them pay for classes on their own again? Sorry, if you're making $300K a year, pay for your school. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Can't wait for that meeting to pitch that.
Yeah, some other school would say no. You just can't do that stuff. I mean, somebody's going to have an advantage then. I mean, I get in some of these schools are different prices too.
What if they paid to not go to school?
I don't want to go to class, but I'll give you. Yeah.
Like here, okay, it's going to cost you $50,000 to not go to class.
Yeah.
And then give the money to the teachers.
Some of these guys
boom, problem solved.
Some of these guys, some places aren't doing a whole lot of classes.
No shit. It's been that way since we've been alive, I think. Matty B, if Jeremy Fears could shoot, would he be the best point guard ever?
Well, maybe, but not really. I mean, he's not big enough for that. But the thing is, though, because he's not a bad shooter by trade. I watched him play in high school. It's not. Some of these guys are not great shooters, but they're.
Well, he did get shot in the leg.
He did. But the other thing is, if part of the reason some guys are limited in their abilities or their abilities are what they are is because they can do something else. It's like we talk about with quarterbacks who can run and they never become great pocket passers because they've had this crutch. When you're a great athlete in a lot of ways, that's the way you play the game rather than needing to be a shooter, right? I mean, that's if you're Coen Carr and you're an unbelievable above the rim dunker, certain parts of your game don't get developed at certain points. So yeah, you could say if he could shoot, but if he could, I mean, if my grandma, had anyway.
What is it?
Well, if my grandma had a wheel, she'd be a bicycle. Is that the line?
In your neighborhood. Scott, what chances that college sports like basketball specifically adopts the 5 years to play 5 before the season ends? If there is any chance, I will have more questions to follow along the Caleb, Glenn, Cooper, and Kohler path.
Yeah, I don't know what that's going to look like. I mean, Glenn, I don't think they're going to risk anything with Glenn. Now, if the 5-5, it's not going to happen this year, so it's not going to be something they do with Caleb, Glenn. With Kohler and Cooper, who knows what would happen in terms of what their value could be if they could do another year if they came back. And certainly, if you had another year of those guys, it would be tremendous. But my guess is it does not happen in time for these guys.
Scott, how are you and Solari doing? I haven't seen a Spartan Speak episode since you talked about Solari's Christmas party on this show.
I think we're going to do one Thursday before we
you guys haven't done one?
We haven't done one since
holidays?
the break. Well, I was, we were off, and then I was ill, and then we've had some odd scheduling stuff, and
ill.
Yeah. So yeah, we will do it. We're doing well though. I mean, we're staying together at a place in Eugene.
Shindig.
So, Shindig. Yeah. Playing some pickleball.
Pepe Plum, if you had to mate with one former Vampire coach, who would it be? Coach K? Bo Ryan? I once talked to Mike Utley on the phone. He would thumbs up Coach K on this one.
Mike Utley.
What a weird question. That was a roller coaster.
You remember the day Mike Utley got hurt? You remember that when he fell? Something else big happened in that game, I think. Or maybe that was the Reggie Brown game, but yeah.
It wasn't Utley. Utley and Reggie Brown wasn't the same game.
No, and I'm just saying something else happened. Maybe it was the day that Barry went over 2,000 yards, the Reggie Brown game. There was something like that. That's what it was.
Yes.
Okay. That's what
Herman Moore ran to. I was at that game.
You were at the Reggie Brown game?
Yeah. I was at the Barry breaking 2,000 yards.
That's incredible.
Against the Jets in the end zone with Mad Dog. My father, Mad Dog. We took a
Mad
bus,
Dog
a party bus. Oh,
wow.
Yeah. Dude, back then I was interning with the Mad Dog, and he had like a whole little party bus thing that he did. Oh, yeah, man.
Wow.
I went to that. That was great. That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I got drunk. Almost got in a fight in the parking lot with a guy because I was talking about a homeless guy who was picking up cans, and he was wearing like Jordans.
So you're like 17 at this time? 18?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Okay. Well, that's a story worth
good
telling.
Parenting.
Yeah, story worth telling. Presented by Midtown Brewing Company. Another good place to go this weekend for a date night. or any occasion, of course. Midtown Brewing Company.
Why did you talk to Mike Utley on the phone? Like, why is it that guys like Beppe Plum don't write paragraphs, but someone talking about fucking Carson Cooper minutes writes like 1,000 words? I want to know what happened to Mike Utley here.
Yeah, no. So if you had to choose somebody to mate with, was it Bo Ryan or is it Coach K?
Not fucking either one of them. I hate these questions. Why does it always have to be a question? Who do you want to fuck? An old white guy or another old white guy? We never get any good ones. Right? Like, they're always terrible. Yeah, I want to fuck Coach K. You got me. What? David Jackson, based on a cursory glance, does it not appear that MSU's talent level on the offensive and defensive lines is higher than a year ago, even with the unexpected departure of Alex Van Summeren?
There's some guys in the offensive line who I think the offensive line will be better than it was at the end of last year. I think the offensive line last year could have been okay if they had stayed healthy. And maybe so on the defensive line. It's just, man, it's so hard to know. I'm just not going to predict it until there are some guys you're sort of intrigued to see, and you see their production other places, or you see, you read something here or there. I think the offensive line, but I've been saying it for years. Like, it's just so hard for me to say, yeah, I think the offensive lines can be better at this point. Because I mean, he's covering this team for a decade, and you keep thinking it's going to happen.
I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say it's going to be better.
There you go. Thank you.
I'll say it.
Good limb.
David Jackson, does Grant Long know how you told your audience how you schooled him on the court?
I don't think he does. I've not spoken to him since then. But Grant.
Yeah, someone start that rumor. Tell Grant.
Did it in front of Steve Smith and Greg Kelser, and Kelser was pretty complimentary. Special K was pretty impressed by me.
Joshua Kleinsorge next. What is the upside of taking lower bowl transfers who played well versus taking Power 4 transfers in football?
Because most Power 4 guys, and this is not all, and you can get some, most Power 4 guys who are moving sideways because they're not as good as they wanted to be, or people once thought they were. The lower level guys are guys who have played out, are good players at that level, who used to become stars at that level and now are moving up. You're more likely to get a good player. And especially moving forward, when more and more, there are fewer guys, more teams are focused on the portal, fewer high school players are getting offers, and so that, you're going to wind up with a better freshman in the MAC than you did 20 years ago. The problem is that guy's never going to stay 4 years. And so I just think the lower level guy with 2-3 years left who's shown some stuff, who was missed on, is just a better way to go.
Ben Jen, early in the second half Tuesday, I wondered where in the world MSU's offense was going to come from. Then they whipped off a huge run. Which version is the real MSU?
It's all real. I mean, sometimes you see all of it. I mean, Kurt Tang is a great example of this. Kurt Tang can have a moment where you're like, what is he doing out there? And then he hits 3 threes and hits a shot where he looks like a pro for a minute. And that's all real. That's all who he is at this point as a sophomore. And I think MSU was, and then they wore down a team. I mean, MSU defensively was really good for a while in that second half.
Ben Jen, I need a win. What 2-team Premier League parlay gets us some cash this weekend?
Take Liverpool at home against Burnley, and then take the Arsenal, and that's just on the money line, and then take Arsenal -1 on the road at Nottingham Forest. That would be my play. It won't play a ton, but you're probably getting plus 130 or something like that on that bet.
Nos the taint parlay. Ken Chu, who has the most career penalty kick goals for Nottingham Forest? Robin Hood, Friar Tuck, or Little John?
I think it's Friar Tuck. And Friar Tuck.
Are these real people?
Well,
you talking about?
No, they're not real soccer players.
Oh, dude, the show's been going on 3 hours. We don't have time for fake questions. What's happening here in soccer? No more soccer and fake questions, or both. The Troy Francisco of Southern Maine next. College and high school mascots and nicknames are my passion. Did you know George Washington changed their name from Colonials to Revolutionaries? How do you feel about the J-Dubs? 2 high schools in Massachusetts are the Hillies. Gwynn High School are the Model Towners.
I don't love the J-Dubs, which is J.W. Sexton High School. It used to be the Big Reds, and because it was a Native American mascot, they had to change in J-Dubs because they were J.W. Sexton. I don't love it, but I'm not up in arms about it.
Not going to protest.
I do. I mean, when I worked in Freeport, we had the Freeport Pretzels, which were the biggest high school in town, and of the 20 little high schools we covered, we had the Monroe Cheesemakers, just north in Wisconsin. We had the Polo Marcos, which are some of the best. The Milledgeville Missiles, Like we had some great nicknames, so I like a good nickname.
Alex Mayer. Nebraska is plus 450 to win the Big Ten. Worth a sprinkle at this point. MSU is plus 1,100.
MSU is probably worth a sprinkle plus 1,100 because I do think they got a shot to get to 9-1, and if you're 9-1 at the turn,
who wants to root for Nebraska though? I don't want to bet that.
Yeah, well, Nebraska.
If you can separate yourself, go for it.
There's probably a little value there. I don't know if there's a ton of value there. I think Nebraska will be in it. They've got some. They're obviously really good. Plus 450. At a certain point when they were over plus 1,000, that was probably the time to get them. And obviously, if everybody knew that, we'd all be wealthy. I think there's more value on MSU at this point because MSU's got a pedigree. They've got Michigan at home. MSU could wind up with a win over Michigan, 10-1. Early in the second half, the end of the schedule is going to be brutal, but you never know what happens by then. I think a plus 1,100 for MSU is probably value.
Peasy next. Graham, the Alexander Arnold story is dumb, yet you keep bringing it up. Why do you always forget that he openly spoke about wanting to only play for Liverpool and be the next Steven Gerrard? Find a new slant.
Yeah, he's the Liverpool player left, and of course he gets booed all the time.
He's the one that passed away?
No, the other guy. No, another guy passed away. But yeah. No, it's fair enough, Peasy. Fair enough.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about. This is weird. I literally have no idea. Lions reply guy, Rube, you never told us how the game was live in Chicago. Did you get into it or just meh? Well, we didn't go. We had the tickets after the Steeler game, and we were mathematically eliminated. We were not going to Chicago anymore because we were not going to sit out into the cold. So we didn't go, and it sucked. It sucked watching it at home. It sucked having a wife who was a Bears fan.
Yeah, Therese is giving the thumbs down. She might have wanted to go, right? Or no?
They weren't my tickets.
Oh, I see.
And I didn't want to go.
I see, yes.
I wasn't going to go sit through that.
I understand.
Shit.
I once went to a late-season Lions-Bears game. This is like 99 or 2000, right before and this is when the Bears sucked. This is before they had that great year in 2001, and the Lions were supposed to be better. Charlie Batch is the quarterback. And I wore a Lions jersey over my coat and was talking a lot of shit, and the Lions lost by like 4 touchdowns. By the end, I had
get your ass beat.
I didn't. I was good at like calming it down and making
your
fun of
jersey
myself.
Over your jacket.
Yeah, it was,
someone should have pushed you down some stairs.
Total penis wrinkle. Yeah, it was not great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Chris, is there a more satisfying way to see your most hated player end his career than throwing a pick six to cap a blowout playoff loss? Asking for a friend. Yeah.
I mean, not if you have the live under that was under 37 or whatever it was I had. It was not great. But yeah, no, I did. Aaron Rodgers, the way that ended. Do you think he's done? Everybody says he's done. I don't know that he's done.
But who wants him?
Somebody's
going to want
that?
No.
Somebody's going to want him.
I heard Minnesota today on Dan Patrick's show, but I was trying to think of that scenario.
Boy. But they might have everything. Somebody who's desperate. Somebody's going to be desperate for a quarterback and think that's the only thing they don't have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to suck. Spartholomew, to answer Jason's question regarding the injury difference between the Lions and the 49ers, I think the simple answer is coaching. The 49ers have actual coordinators. The Lions had Morton and a guy who never called a defense before. I know. It's the quiet part that you don't want to say out loud. Is it down to coaching? Because we see these injuries and you see teams that can get it done and then you go, And you trust Dan Campbell. It's not about Dan Campbell. It's about the other guys. And hopefully McDaniel,
that would be
we
great.
Can hire him.
McDaniel would be a great hire if they can make that work.
Jesus H, please. Spartholomew, can I get an actual response to this take and not just Graham pontificating on standing ovation versus light applause? Pretty please. Our fan base spends too much time blaming Haller for hiring Smith instead of Cignetti and not enough time blaming Haller for pissing off the donors. Cignetti was never coming here without a serious NIL and donor commitment, so whether Haller wanted to hire him or not is irrelevant, and that's why he won't be getting no damn standing ovation.
Well, the end of Alan Haller began with Mel Tucker, not being able to keep it in his pants. Like that's the beginning of because and if Mel Tucker. And Mel Tucker really...
We don't have enough time for all of that.
We don't have enough time.
Mel Tucker flirting with the LSU and the contract and all that stuff. I mean,
I thought you were going to say something.
Well,
else.
both, but the other stuff too. But like that, that is... So, yes, but there's no question that Haller misjudged that situation and how to best go about it. And, at some point I'll have a conversation with him, and I wonder what he would have done differently if he had to do it over again.
When's that conversation? You texted him?
It's been a little while, but I did before Christmas. But yeah, we'll have lunch at some point.
Did he respond?
Yeah. We were planning to get together, and we just got busy.
What did you say? Happy holidays, Coach? Mel? You call him Mel, right? Mel.
No, not Mel. I said Alan. I'm talking to Alan.
Oh, Alan Haller. My bad. I thought
totally
it was
different.
Mel Tucker. I was like, dude, breaking news here.
No, I said the same thing that
Alan, we don't care about
the Jacksonville reporter said. Keep your chin up, and all that stuff. Yeah.
Sparty Party 94 next. You told me MSU was trying. However, look at other big-name schools' moves in the portal and retention of its own players. We let guys walk out the door at crucial positions with no real plan to replace them. You sure we really trying or just settling and reacting?
I think they're trying. I don't think anybody's settling and reacting. You listen to Max Bulla's speech if you get a chance. Nobody's settling. But I also think, there are probably, of the guys that left, how many guys thought of themselves in terms of the finances more than Michigan State wanted to give them? Those are the tough conversations you have to have these days. I would guess there are probably a half dozen guys that Michigan State wishes did not leave, that they lost. But I would bet it's not more than that.
Mojo Jojo, can we get a French Rube impression for the World Cup this summer? How's French going?
Oui,
oui.
Yeah, je suis des fromages.
Alouette, jante blumolette, alouette, jante blumolette, jante blumolette the dead, jante blumolette the dead, alouette, 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 oh.
That's the best you've done yet.
Mojo Jojo. Have either of y'all looked into GLP-1s? Signed up for 2026. My folks have had a lot of success with them.
So this is like Ozempic and all the weight loss drugs, right?
What are you trying to say, Mojo Jojo?
Yeah, a little offensive, but no.
That man's crushing he's always on a treadmill. What would he need that for?
And you've got a muskox flannel, and a treadmill. What else you need? I have not. I could get them, I think, if I wanted to, because I qualify.
Your doctor mentioned it in passing?
No, even my nutritionist and my primary physician both think I can do this on my own.
Look at this, MF.
They have more discipline. They're more faith in my discipline than me. Yeah, absolutely. My nutritionist loves me. We have great talks.
You have a nutritionist?
Yeah, we talk. Every 6 months we get together.
Are you honest with them?
Yeah, she knows. I mean, because I understand everything. It has nothing to do with my understanding of what I need to do, and that's the problem. It's just I understand what I need to do. I just don't.
You understand everything, he says.
I understand it all, and so we have great conversation. We talk about other things because she knows I get it. I just can't do it.
What do you guys talk about?
Life and other things. I think I think a lot of her
ignoring
patients,
the real subject, the elephant in the room.
I think a lot of her patients are really a mess, and she's grateful for the hour with me.
Tom, what do you think?
Back to the white elephant in the room. They don't want to deal with the white elephant in the room.
Couch does not. Jake Hawkins, I just saw where Trey Fort's minutes in 4 conference games have been decreasing. Any particular reason why?
I mean, somebody's going to get squeezed out, and he hasn't been a productive shot maker. And defensively, he doesn't do anything better than the guys playing in front of him, and that's what it comes down to. Whose minutes do you want him to take? Kurt Tang's, Jordan Scott's? It's just that's the problem. He's got to be better than those guys in some way, and he has not been.
All right, and finally from the Hawk, if you're going to cover next Tuesday's game at Oregon, are you going to stay out on the West Coast or make a quick trip home before heading back out?
Staying out there, bunking with Solari, It's going to be fun. In our jammies, having a shindig. I will.
But we will be here Monday.
Yes, Monday we will have a show. We'll do it from afar. We'll do it.
We'll do it live.
We'll do it live. Yeah. Good show, man.
Yeah, man.
We appreciate all of you. Thanks for producing our show. We appreciate Jeff Kohler coming on, of course. We appreciate Firekeepers and the Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app. Download the app today. Bet responsibly, but have some fun with the games this weekend. We, of course, appreciate our friends at Front 43 Neighborhood Pub and Cask and Company Kitchen Bar. Great place to watch games this weekend. Great place for a date night. Same with Midtown Brewing Company, of course, and Groovy Donuts. Do not do this weekend without Groovy Donuts. And if you're in this area, I'm telling you, it'll bring joy to yourself, to the people around you. Just life is better with Groovy Donuts. Go to groovydonuts.com. Place your order today. Either location, Williamson or Lake Lansing Road, 7 a.m. to 1 p.m., Thursday through Sunday. Talk to you Monday. Good show, man.
Yeah, man.
Couch in the Room.